Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to the Rochester Raging Rhinos pregame show sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream. I am Joe Giuliano. Tonight it's the Rhinos taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps. It'll be the second and the final regular season meeting between the Whitecaps and the Rochester Rhinos this season. Balboa East side were held to a 1-1 draw at Paytech Park earlier this month. For Rochester, tonight's contest is finally the last of a 5-game road trip out west. On Friday night, the Seattle Sounders could not hold the lead, playing to a 1-1 draw with the Raging Rhinos. Seattle's goal came in the 58th minute. Former Rhino Greg Howes getting the goal. Midfielder Hugo Alcaraz-Cuellar started the whole play on the right flank. A perfect cross into the Rhinos' box. Howes burying a header past Chase Harrison. The lead was short-lived, though. Just 2 minutes later, Johnny Menyonger scoring his third goal of the season for the Rhinos, burying a right-footed shot past goalkeeper Chris Islander. That came in the 60th minute. Seattle saw its leer disappear for the third straight time this season. The Rhinos now have a record of 2 wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties. They've got 9 points in the USL First Division. So tonight it is the Rhinos and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Now, special news or good news tonight, Don Stevens has returned to the broadcast booth. And again, our prayers and thoughts go out to Don and his family. His mother passed away on Friday, and it's great to have Don back working the broadcast tonight from Vancouver. Soccer Sam also will not be joining us tonight. He is a little under the weather. He had some work done, nothing major, just needs to relax and recover. But he's not feeling well, so Soccer Sam will join us next Sunday when the Rhinos take on Miami FC at Paytech Park. So Don Stevens is back. Soccer Sam not feeling too well tonight. He will check in with us next week. When we come back, we'll take a look at tonight's opponent, the Vancouver Whitecaps, who have a very similar situation to the Rhinos last week with Portland and California. We'll see how that works out for Vancouver tonight. You're listening to the Rhinos pregame show, sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream.
The Rhinos are back in action on Sunday, May 27, 6:05 against Miami FC. Come and see all the action as your Rhinos continue their quest for the USL First Division Championship. It's Italian night. The first 10,000 fans receive a magnetic schedule courtesy of Salvatore's Pizza. Group tickets available for 10 or more. Call 454-KICK for more information. Tickets available at the Paytech Park box office, Ticketmaster.com, or call 232-1900 to charge by phone. Come see why we are Soccer Town, USA.
Welcome back. This is the Rhinos pregame show, sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream. Joe Giuliano. We're getting ready tonight for the Rhinos and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Don Stevens back to the broadcast booth. He's at Swangard Stadium in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's the Rhinos and the Whitecaps, a rematch of last year's USL First Division Championship game. Well, tonight's game is coming less than 24 hours for the Vancouver Whitecaps after a trip to San Francisco, their second league meeting with the California Victory. The Whitecaps also tonight, this game is the second part of a doubleheader at Swangard Stadium. The women's team was playing in their W League season opener before tonight's match. Last night, the California Victory remained winless, and the Vancouver Whitecaps undefeated after the bottom versus top clash ended in a 3-1 win for Vancouver in San Francisco. Eddie Sabrango scoring 2 goals. Adrian Kahn adding the third with a header. Now, the Rhinos had a similar travel schedule last week with California and with Portland. Do the Whitecaps have anything left? Well, here was their travel schedule. They had a return flight from San Francisco. It was scheduled for 9:25 this morning. The Whitecaps were scheduled to arrive in Vancouver at 11:44 a.m. After clearing customs, collecting their baggage, the players figure they'll arrive at home by 2 p.m. So they got to report to the stadium 5 hours later. The Rhinos, very similar situation last week in California and Portland. We'll see what happens tonight. Does Vancouver have anything left in the tank? Hopefully the Rhinos can capitalize, maybe expose on some tired legs tonight, come home with 3 points and that'll do wonders for jumping them up the table in the USL First Division. Again, the Rhinos have a record of 2 wins, 2 losses, 3 ties. That is good for 9 points right now in the USL First Division. Vancouver, as we mentioned, is undefeated after 6 games, 4 wins, no losses, and 2 ties. They are at the top of the table with 14 points. So first loss of the year at the hands of the Rhinos sounds good to me. I don't know about you, but we'll see how that goes tonight for the Raging Rhinos. When we come back, we'll take a look at some upcoming events at Paytech Park next weekend, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. Action-packed weekend at Paytech Park. We'll take a look at that when we come back on the Rhinos pregame show, sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream. Well, tonight it's the rematch of the 2006 USL First Division Championship. The Rhinos and the Whitecaps. The venue has changed. Swangard Stadium. It's the final meeting of the regular season between Rochester and Vancouver. But you get the feeling they may meet up somewhere in the playoffs later on in 2007. Well, next weekend there is a ton of events going on at Paytech Park. Come to the stadium to see the Rochester Rhinos women's team kick off their season on Friday night, May 25th at 7:35 p.m. New head coach Peter Amos has done a tremendous job of putting together a quality side. And again, the Rhinos women's team, they're hosting the WUSA championship, or the W League championship matchup later on in the year, and they'll be qualified for that tournament as well. Then the next day, the Rochester Rattlers open the 2007 home season against the Washington Bayhawks. That's on Saturday, May the 26th, 7:30 p.m. And here's the tagline for that one: Rochester Rattlers Lacrosse. It's lacrosse with a bite. So that's the Rattlers and the Bayhawks on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And the one the soccer fans are excited about, the Rhinos playing at home next Sunday, May the 27th, 6:05 kickoff. And it's Italian night. Italian night festivities including tarantella dancing, Italian music, Italian food, and a spaghetti eating contest at halftime. My money is on Soccer Sam. The Rhinos will be honoring Rochester Italian radio legend Joe Capogreco. Before the game, Joe Capogreco has been broadcasting on a beautiful Italian show for 40 years. So get your tickets for all those events. The W League Rhinos women's team, the Rattlers, and the Rhinos. Tickets are available at the Paytech Park box office or by calling Ticketmaster at 232-1900. Now, if you have groups of 10 or more, you can call 585-454-5425 to get your tickets at the group rate. So one more time, the 25th, it's the Rhinos women's soccer team playing. The 26th, it's the Rattlers. And the 27th, it's Italian night. Joe Capogreco being honored, the Rhinos taking on Miami FC at 6:05. So let's look at some of the upcoming events at Paytech Park next week. Be sure to take part in at least one of those at a beautiful brand new stadium in downtown Rochester. When we come back, we'll take a look at the USL First Division scoreboard from the weekend and some big games going down today in the USL. This is the final segment of the Rhinos pregame show, sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream. I'm Joe Giuliano. Coming up, Don Stevens will have all the action. The Rhinos and the Whitecaps from Swangard Stadium right here on WYSL. Well, 3 games today besides the Rochester-Vancouver matchup in the USL First Division. The home opener for the Montreal Impact at Claude Robillard Stadium, 10,143 fans. Montreal 2-0 over the Seattle Sounders today. Minnesota was at Puerto Rico. 2-1 win for Minnesota. It's the Thunder's first win of the year. 3,400 fans in Puerto Rico's Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium. Miami hosting Atlanta. Miami FC coming up with the 2-1 win. Atlanta led 1-0 at the half. Zinho with a rocket of a goal. And Sean Frazier with the game winner. Miami 2-1 over Atlanta. Last night, Carolina, the Railhawks recorded their first home regular season win in franchise history. They beat the Charleston Battery 1-0. Beautiful crowd on hand, 4,462 fans at the SAS Soccer Park. The lone goal of the night was a penalty kick converted by Kupana Lowe. Now, Carolina, Scotty Schweitzer doing a great job with those guys. They've got a record of 2 wins, 1 loss, and 3 ties early on in 2007. So standings, we talked about this a little earlier. Vancouver, top of the table with 14 points. Montreal with 11 points. Atlanta also with 11. Now, there's a little bit of a log jam for third. Miami, Rochester, and Carolina tied for third with 9 points. A bunch of games yesterday in Major League Soccer. DC United at Toronto's BMO Field. 2-1 DC over Toronto. Another packed house, over 20,000 there. The Red Bulls hammering on Columbus at Giant Stadium. 4-0. Juan Pablo Angel, 1 goal, 2 assists there. 10,000 fans at Giant Stadium. It just doesn't get better in New York. New England 1-0 over Houston. KC and Colorado 1-1 tie there. And there was 2 games today in Major League Soccer. The Derby, LA and Chivas 1-1 draw. And the last update I have on Real Salt Lake at Dallas is 1-0 Dallas in the second half. And finally, big news out of Italy. Well, not really. Juventus beat Arezzo 5-1 in the Serie B on Saturday. They have clinched promotion back to the Serie A. Only 10 months after being demoted, and they were docked points in the Italian match-fixing scandal. Del Piero and Giorgio Chiellini scoring 2 goals, and David Trezeguet adding the 5th for Juventus. Quote from David Trezeguet, "We have shown once again that we are the strongest. Now let's party." You know what, Juventus, big deal. You won the Serie B. Don't get too crazy with yourselves. We'll leave it at that. That's the pregame show for tonight. When we come back, my man, my good man, great to have him back tonight, Don Stevens, all the action, the Rhinos and the Vancouver Whitecaps, Swangard Stadium. We'll talk to you on the postgame show. Joe Giuliano, the Rhinos pregame show, sponsored by Perry's Ice Cream.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Swangard Stadium. Tonight, the Rhinos will end up this long West Coast trip with a game against the Vancouver Whitecaps, a return of a game played earlier at Paytech Park in Rochester. And that one ended up in a 1-goal tie, so the Rhinos are still looking for their first win this season against the Vancouver Whitecaps, and same the other way around. Certainly, the Whitecaps have been on a roll lately, and they lead the league top of the table with 14 points with a 3-1 victory at California last night. Unbeaten on the season, a 4-0-2 record. There's one other team that it's unbeaten, and Montreal winning their game this afternoon. Now a 3-0-2 record. The Rhinos, with the with the Montreal win this afternoon, have lost a spot in the standings and have dropped down to 4th with 9 points tied at the moment with Carolina. So we'll see what happens here tonight. The Rhinos trying to come away with a victory in this one over the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's time now for the coach's pregame interview brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. And talking with the coach of the Rhinos, Laurie Calloway, a little bit about the 1-goal tie against Seattle 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I thought we played defensively very, very well. We rode our luck a little bit in the last 10 minutes. But statistically, we were even with them. We had more shots on goal than they did. We had more corners than they did. And although they had a couple of chances near the end where they may have stuck the 3 points. But I thought where we struggled was in midfield, where we gave the ball away a lot. We didn't possess the ball very well and forced ourselves to defend more. But there were some outstanding performances. Kevin Novak had a tremendous game at right back, and Deli was unbelievably effective up front as far as keeping the ball in there for us when he had the chance and winning balls in the air, and a lot of really good individual performances. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have enough to pull back to bring back the 3 points.
Now, in goals for and against this year, you're even up, but that puts you amongst the top in goals for, but puts you down toward the bottom as far as goals against are concerned. Is that your area of concern right now, goals against?
Yeah, because if we'd have not conceded those goals, we'd have. There's only 1 game I think we haven't scored in. Is that correct? And so it means if we'd have had say 3 or 4 shutouts instead of those 1-goal games, we'd have been 18 points or something like that now. So it's a concern, but 6 of the 7 games have been on the road, and it's not easy to shut out home teams, and it's not easy to score on the road either. It's especially with the travel schedule we've had. I mean, this seems like almost civilized this weekend compared to the weekends we've had so far this year. Traveling the same day as games and all that sort of stuff, which is not conducive to getting great results or playing well. So we had a nice relaxing drive up yesterday, and the guys have had some decent rest. Vancouver played last night, of course, and they're talking in the papers about their torturous road trip where they flew an hour and a half back from San Francisco this morning. I don't think that's torturous compared to some of the things we've been doing. So I expect them to be full of energy, a lot of life. Bob saw the game. Bob was able to rest a lot of his players in the second half. So having got up 3-1 against California, so don't expect them to be too tired tonight.
This is the last of the string of 7 games out of 8 on the road. Quite often coaches talk about they like to get on the road because of bonding of their team. You feel that you've gone as far as you need to in that respect?
Yeah, I think that the esprit de corps and the team spirit is very, very good. And trips like this help that. And guys having a laugh and a joke, keeping practices fairly light. We were heavy earlier in the week. Where we really worked them hard Tuesday and Wednesday in Seattle, and took the pressure off a little bit in the last 2 days. Had a light session at the stadium for 30 minutes this morning just to stretch. You can see with the group that it's very, very energized, and one of the reasons we got the result the other night because everybody pulled for each other.
Yep.
All right, Coach Laurie Calloway of the Rhinos will be getting underway very shortly from Swangard Stadium here in Vancouver. Tonight, it's the Rhinos and the Whitecaps, and this is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Swangard Stadium here in Vancouver, actually in more Burnaby, I guess it would be, a suburb of the Vancouver area, as tonight the Rhinos take on the Vancouver Whitecaps. And again, this is being the second meeting of the year between the two teams. Starting lineups are brought to you by Nothega Realtors, Rochester's full-service realtor. And first of all, in goal for the Vancouver Whitecaps is Tony Kaeg. He's gone the distance thus far, has a 4-0-2 record in the season, unbeaten with a 1.00 goals against average. Looking at the defensive row, we see Steve Klein, Adrian Kahn, Steve Kindell, and Lyle Martin. And then through the midfield, Jeff Clark, Martin Dash, the former Rhino, Alfredo Valente, and Dave Morris. And then up front, the forwards will include Joey Jertson, and the other forward is Joel Bailey. Starting out for the Rhinos tonight in goal, once again, is Chase Harrison. Harrison he's been the workhorse of late, having played so far the last 5 straight games. So Harrison coming into this one with a 1-1-3 record, a 1.25 goals against average. The defenders, including Kenny Burch, Kevin Novak, Scott Falguda, and Nate Kraft. Through the midfield, John Ball, Mike Ambersley, Tim Wambansu, John Menyonger, and Steve Shirley Black. As it looks like the Rhinos are going with a 4-5-1, and then up front the lone forward is listed as Chad Severs. Rhinos' makeup has been considerably changed with players that are not in the lineup tonight, and that certainly seems to be the story of the game, if you will, for the Rhinos, is who's not here. Players that were left back in Seattle could not cross the border included Matthew Delicott, Amad Diallo, and Ray Martinez. And then players that are not along on the trip included Ryan Weilman, PJ Shifley, and Kevin Burns. Also, Scott Dallow is out injured, along with Chris Aloisi is out injured. And, of course, Hector Zabata is the backup goalkeeper for this game. Rhinos wearing the yellow uniforms and shooting in the net to my right. And the Vancouver Whitecaps in all white, except for some blue trim and numerals. And the Rhinos dressed in the yellow uniforms that they've had the entire road trip, trying to get back on the winning side. And this ends that string, that long string on the road. Rhinos, of course, tying in Seattle 2 nights ago, 1-1. So tying the last game, winless in the last 2 with a loss and a tie. The last 5, a 1-1-3 record. Well, the home team, and that being the Vancouver Whitecaps, have played extremely well of late with a 3-1 victory in California last night as we are underway here at Swangard Stadium. It's chipped into Rhino territory. That's to my left in the first half. And the whistle is blown. It'll be a restart for the Rhinos, their own side of midfield. Burt's leaving it there. Looks like it'll be Palguda take the kick. They have Palguda and Burt's as the central defenders. On the right back is Novak. And on the left outside, looks like Nathan Kraft. As Bonsu playing a withdraw in midfield, and the ball is headed away. Out to Nash. He'll knot it up in the air. Comes on the near side for Valente. Challenged from behind, but does play it out to the center circle. Burt's is there to drive it back into Vancouver territory. Long chip by Kraft up the left wing side. It's knocked down along the 35 and played away. But not out. Knocked back along the 20. And recovered by Klein for the Whitecaps. Will send it out across midfield, but puts it out of bounds. And a throw in near midfield on the far side. Kraft off the left wing side with the throw in. Going short, looking for a return pass as Black spins away with the ball. Drawing it down to the 35. Turns to the outside and still has it once again. The left outside midfielder. Dropping it back at midfield. Palguda plays it off into the middle for Burt's, and he'll switch it to the near side. Off the right flank is Novak. Sends it along the near touch line. Checking back at the ball. His ball. He'll drop it off around his 30 to Burt's. Rolls the pass ahead to midfield for Bonsu. Gets a return. Pass by Burt's into the middle for Palguda. Draws it off on the left wing side, turns it to the outside. Taken there, Kraft with a pass ahead. A give and go Bonsu up the left wing side for Black. Draws it to the outside, overlapping is Kraft, but won't get away. Is hauled down as Black, and a foul is called. Shirley Black, by the way, leading the league in fouls coming into tonight. The Rhino midfielder has 19. Kenny Burt's is second in the league in fouls with 18. So the Rhinos have been certainly active and applied a lot of pressure this season so far. Off on the near wing and a pass toward the middle, but grabbed there by Nash. Taken away by the Whitecaps into the center circle. Pass on the left wing side to Valente, but knocked down by Nash tightly. And Novak make that, and the Rhinos take it back for Bolton. That's Bonsu. Bolton is on the bench. As Bonsu tangled up with Nash still laying on the ground at midfield, and the play goes on. Long into Rhino territory, turned to the outside of the right wing. Bonsu getting up, hobbling. Trying to run it off the right leg. Pass along the 18, sneaking through and coming out the near end of the box. A foot race for the ball off in the near corner. And getting to it, the Whitecaps play it back out top. On the near wing, looking to feed it through. In front is Kindell, and that's knocked away. Then blocked off the near corner of the box by Ball. Kindell has it again on the outside of the left wing. He'll drop it back for Nash. He leads the league in assists with 3 so far. They have a pass at the near wing. Intercepted, the Rhinos take it. Out to midfield. Dropped off there by Sievers. Turning back, Menyonger can't control, and that would knocked away and out of bounds by the Whitecaps. A throw in for the Rhinos on the near side. It'll be from their own 40. No score, just getting underway. We're in the 3rd minute here at Swangard Stadium. Back to the midfield line. Played off toward the middle by Clark. Into the center circle. Back to Nash. He'll chip it cross field on the far side, and Kraft will knot it aside. Taken there by Palguda. Drops it off. Bonsu playing it back to his 18. Taken by Burt's. He'll turn it to the outside of the near wing. Novak feeding off into the middle. 35 yards out for Bonsu. Long play up the near wing, but unable to make the run. It's Novak, and the ball is out of bounds. Throw on the near side for Kindell. Of the Whitecaps. Goes across the midfield line. Goes with the throw in and moving in. Burt's will knot it down into the feet of Embersley, and he'll play it back out on the far side for Kraft, approaching the midfield line. It raining steady all day long here in Vancouver today. Across midfield as Black wipes out, goes down, and the foul is, it went off of Black and out of bounds, so a throw in across the way for the Whitecaps. Very wet field, very slippery. Another stoppage of play. This time a foul is called on the Rhinos. It'll be a restart, a free kick for the Whitecaps. 40 yards out off the right wing side. 4th minute, no score. So it seems like, as I'm trying to look at standing water out on the track, and I don't see any rain at the moment, so it looks like maybe it has stopped raining at the moment, but everything is real wet. Pass the far corner of the box, chased down into the far corner and drawn to the end line. It's out over the end line, gets away. It'll be a goal kick for the Rhinos. Chase Harrison in goal down to my left. They're ready to take the kick. Actually, wait a minute now. They're pulling the ball to the outside. It looks like evidently it went out on the... Oh, I see. Before it went over the end line, it went out over the touchline on the far side of the field. So a throw in for the Rhinos from their own 18. Played out toward midfield and a pass off into the middle where it's taken by Valente of the Whitecaps. He'll roll it to the outside of the near wing. Kindell, a rolling shot in, but knocked out of the 18. Blocked aside by the Rhinos. Novak, and then it's played off into the corner and over the end line. This time it'll be a goal kick for the Rhinos. No score, just getting underway. Harrison placing the ball. That is 6, moving the players away. He'll try to drive it downfield to get Harrison a 1-1-3 record at 1.25 goals against average. And that is 7th best in the league. The other end is Tony Kaig, and he comes into tonight leading the USL with 4 wins, second in the league with a 1.00 goals against average, 8th in the league with 13 saves. Off of the near wing of midfield, still kept in play, and finally rolls away and out. That off of Valente, so a throw-in on the near wing for the Rhinos. Off to Menyonger as his jersey stretched out a little bit, but no call made. The ball played along midfield, and Nash will drop it back his own side of midfield. Off at the far wing where it's taken by Martin and sends it across midfield into Rhino territory. In the far wing, picked up by Jertson. Rolls it off into the middle for Clark. He's 40 yards out, bothered by Menyonger, but drops it back center circle, and Nash will switch it to the outside of the near wing for Valente. Bounced away off his foot, but he rolls it off to Kendall and continues up the near wing. Back to help out his ball. He'll boot it up into the stands and out. Throw in deep in the corner for the Whitecaps. Moving over for the throw in is Alfredo Valente, the 26-year-old from Vancouver. Going short to the near end of the box. Played back on top for Kendall with the left foot. He'll drive it down inside the 18, but headed away and out. Then Younger gets the right foot on it to bang it high in the air out toward midfield. Sievers checking back. Drops it off and played by Ambersley to the outside of the left wing. Moving out across midfield is Black. Sneaks the ball through, but immediately the door is closed and taken away by Klein of the Whitecaps. He'll draw it across midfield into Rhino territory. Spinning around to midfield Bailey, but got away from him. Taken back by the Rhinos. Birch to the center circle. Checking back as Ambersley has it. Drops it off again for Birch. At his own 30 and at the outside of the near wing for Novak. Tried to play it up the wing, but blocked away momentarily by Valente. Novak gets it back, but a slow roller is picked off and carried forward by the Whitecaps. On the attack, down to the Rhino 25. We're approaching the middle of the field. Turns it off in the middle. Trying to the left. Back to Kendall to the outside of Valente. Won't get to it. That rolls out over the end line. And another goal kick for the Rhinos. No score, we're in the 8th minute here in Vancouver. Reminder, coming up Friday night, the Rhinos women's soccer team kicking off their new season. That's Friday night, May 25th at Paytech Park. Kickoff time 7:35. And tickets at the Paytech Park box office, Ticketmaster.com, or call Ticketmaster at 232-1900. So that's Friday night. Then the Rhinos men's team returning home on Sunday against Miami FC, 6 o'clock kickoff. That's Sunday. The Rhinos finally will be at home for their second match of the season. Upfield, but ball up the back of Clark, and so it'll be a foul called and a restart for the Whitecaps right at the midfield line on the near side. Kendall dropping it back, moving forward. Kahn with a pass into the middle. Clark back to the center circle for Nash. He'll try and switch it to the outside of the right wing, and moving up on the ball is Klein. Long service downfield. Birch is back to head it away. That right to Bailey. 35 yards out in Rhino territory. Jertson spins to his right. Draws it down to the far end of the 18. Bailey looking for a cross down inside, but that's deflected out over the end line. It'll be a corner kick for the Whitecaps' first corner of the match. First corner of the game. 9th minute, no score. Corner kick off the right wing side to be taken by Nash. Left-footed kick in swinger. Martin Nash, the former Rhino. 3 assists to go along with a goal so far this season, 5 points. Nash service into the middle of the box. Up in the air is Harrison to bring it down of his 6. Runs out to the 18, then waits for the players to move away. He'll throw it off on the near side. Long ball out across the midfield line. Valente heads it forward, but Novak for the Rhinos in underneath it. Turns, drops it back. Birch with the right foot first time through midfield. Moving up on the play. Kahn for the Whitecaps to the outside of the near wing for Valente across midfield to Bailey. Drops it back, but blocked aside. Now up on it is Palguda. Out across midfield, but that went by Bonsu. Taken back by the Whitecaps. Feet downfield. Jertson's in behind. And an offside flag. Offside against the Whitecaps. Vancouver last night defeating California in San Francisco 3-1. Last 2 games have been 3-1 victories for the Whitecaps, so they've outscored the opposition 6-2 in the last 2 games. Very strong side, the Whitecaps. Drop back at midfield. Played into Rhino territory. Turning back goes Palguda. As he looks around, turned back trying to get away from Jertson, then drops it all the way back to the keeper. Harrison out at his 18, plays it to the outside of the near wing. Novak up the right wing, out to midfield, ball bounced away, and headed away out of bounds. That off of Novak, so it'll be a throw-in for the Whitecaps in Rhinos territory, about 40 yards out. So the Whitecaps unbeaten on the season at 4-0-2. Only 2 teams unbeaten, Vancouver and Montreal. Montreal winning this afternoon. They're 3-0-2. Getting tangled up now. Players go down. Ball on top of Bailey. Foul is called. Free kick for the Whitecaps. Now 30 yards out off the left wing side. Looks like it is Jeff Clark ready to serve it up. Right-footed kicker. He'll swing it in. Goes for the back post. High in the air. Bouncing, rolling in, and wide across the goal mouth. It misses the left post and out over the end line. Golden opportunity for the Whitecaps right there. Beautiful service to the far end of the six. White back across the goal mouth and out over the end line. Rhinos dodging the bullet right there. The first opportunity for either team in the match. 11th minute and no score from Vancouver. Harrison with the right foot. He'll drive it out through midfield. Up they go. Ball knocked down on the near wing, and it's taken by Kendall across midfield. Valente on the near side of the midfield line. He's challenged there by Novak. High service down into Rhino territory, and Burtz is back to head it up in the air. Comes down 30 yards out in the middle of the field. Jerkson after it. Rolls it back to midfield, taken there by Clark. Sends it through the center circle out on the right wing side. Moving up with the play is Martin. Joel Martin. Pass ahead as Bailey goes down and can't control the Rhinos. Take it away. Out to midfield. Ball knocked away. The fans wanted a foul when Bailey was knocked down, but it looked more like he slept. Off of the far wing, taken by the Rhinos. Pass toward the middle for Menyonger. Drops it off his 20. Burtz to the outside of the near wing for Novak. Off the right wing side, challenged there by Valente, and the foul is called on Valente. So it'll be a free kick for the Rhinos. Their own 30. Broadcast of these games brought to you by World Jam. Real jams, real people, real results. By Power Trip, taste the power. And by Free Time Magazine, Western New York's art and entertainment guide. Cross midfield, picked up by the Whitecaps, carrying it back into Rhino territory as Martin on the outside of the right wing. As he slows up, dropped off at the midfield line once again. Chipped across midfield into Rhino territory. Ball is knocked down. Pass along the 35 for Bailey. Leaves it off center circle. And the give and go pass, but nobody with on the go. And so the ball rolls down to the end line. First taken by Harrison along the end line. He'll dribble it out to the 18. Taking his time. Now rolls the ball ahead with the right foot. Will drive it out. Low kick through the center circle. And to Bunch, who couldn't get the flick on it, comes back at the midfield line as they move in on the ball. Covered there by Bailey. Turns it to the outside on the near wing. The left wing side. Kendall will jam it downfield in a long race for the ball. Valente chasing it off in the corner. Novak on him. And Valente fell, and the ball rolls away out over the end line. Another goal kick for the Rhinos. Those that are available for substitution for the Rhinos here today include, of course, the keeper, Hector Zabata, Josh Bolton, Jason Perry, Aaron Lyons, Danny Kramer. Now, Chris Aloisi is listed on the roster, but I think he is injured and unable to participate. Still recovering from the knock on the noggin in the game in Portland the other night, which ended up in the hospital with that one. He's all right. He got out of the hospital immediately, but still has some ringing between the ears, I think. In the center circle, Ambersley giving it off to Menyonger. Turns it to the outside, ahead Black. Overlapping Kraft, but drops it back to Black at midfield. Pass to the middle for Menyonger, as he's having quite a season for himself so far. Johnny Menyonger leading the Rhinos, 3 goals, 1 assist, 7 points. Back into Rhino territory, Burtz with it from his 35, rolls it off in the middle for Palguda. Pass out to the midfield line for Menyonger, checking back. He'll switch it to the outside of the near wing, and moving up on the ball at the midfield line is Novak. Turns a slide tackle there. Valente knocks it away, but the foul is called, and the Rhinos have the restart at the midfield line. 15th minute, no score for Vancouver. Beautiful setting. Quite the contrast here. To my right, high evergreen trees, beautiful high evergreen trees. You can't see, it's just like sitting in the middle of the woods. That's to my right and across the way. And then to my left, an open side of the open end of the field, if you will. And there's a big modern building there. There's a monorail train that goes by at the end of the field. And you look up above that, and the mountains are showing way off in the distance after looking across the city. It's a gorgeous setting here at Swangard Stadium. However, today, very cloudy, overcast. You can see the tops of the mountains across the way. Looks like it's lighting up a little bit. It stopped raining. Now the ball is thrown in on the near side, out across midfield, and kicked into the bleachers by Palguda. So another throw in for the Whitecaps along the near side. Palguda steps in the way of that pass also. That's jammed up in the air, coming down to the midfield line, knotted across midfield, and taken there by Kahn. Adrian Kahn, the 26-year-old from Thornhill, Ontario.
Back down to the 20. Klein with it for the Whitecaps across midfield. Off the chest of Bailey. Comes down to the midfield line. Trying to get away Embersley. He's pushed down by Bailey. The foul is called and a free kick for the Rhinos. Rhinos going with one forward tonight. Chad Severs up front. 4-5-1 alignment, it would appear. As the Rhinos without their strikers. Delicate not here. Diallo is not here. Up the near wing and moving in on the right side inside the box. Ambersley chips it back across the 6. Out the far side. Kraft at the far end of the 18. Now Black, that is, drops it back for Kraft. High chip down in front. Up in the 6. They grab the ball out of the air is Haig. So the Rhinos finally showing a little bit. Getting down inside the box. Unable to get a clean shot away. Haig with the right foot sends it out to midfield. Headed down in Rhino territory. Stepping up Novak across midfield for Ambersley. He'll drop it back to his 35 for Palguda. And out on the near wing, it's taken by Birch. Crossing to the outside of the right wing. Novak across midfield for Ball. And poke it ahead, but that was bounced off a foot and out. And it'll be a throw-in on the near side for the Rhinos just across the midfield line. 16th minute, no score. Kevin Novak playing the right back position here tonight. With the throw-in to Menyonger, trying to sneak it through. One big guy to another. In the middle, Severs taken down, and the ball is loose, recovered by Nash. Off the Whitecaps, he'll drive it out through midfield. Back at his own end of the field goes Palguda. That's to my left here in the first half of play. Palguda stops it at the 35 and a pass out near midfield to Menyonger. Drawing it forward. Chips a pass ahead. One touch of the ball, knocking it down for Ambersley, but sneaking in to intercept is Nash. And then the ball played away, but a foul is called and a restart for the Whitecaps. Nash with the quick restart, sends it out of the near wing, and up the left wing side is Kendall. The midfield, Valente, right back to Kendall. And the left foot tried to play it downfield, but ball blocked it away, however, out of bounds on the near side. A throw-in for the Whitecaps down around their own 30 on the near side. Steve Kendall to take the throw-in, 30-year-old from Burnaby. He's at home here. Pass up the left wing side for Valente, comes loose at the midfield line, taken by Bailey. Spin around. Pays it off along the midfield line, and Valente sends it through midfield. Kraft for the Rhinos in underneath it, nods it forward to midfield. Black turns it to the outside, trying to get away from Martin in the foot race. On the far wing, drawing it down to the 18, to the 15, as they bump for the ball, still in the far corner of the field. With it, it's put off the leg of Black out over the end line. A goal kick for the Vancouver Whitecaps. 18th minute for Vancouver and no score. So far, have it unofficially. The Whitecaps with one shot, the Rhinos with none, although Rochester is starting to make a little noise here, now getting the ball deep in the Vancouver end a couple of times in the last few minutes. Still unable to get a shot away, unless you want to call Nate Kraft's chip toward the net a shot. It was, I think, just a pass. Out in front. Taken by Klein to Kahn and to the outside of the near wing for Kendall as the Whitecaps start to bring the ball forward. And up the left wing side across midfield. Long delivery downfield, but this one will roll and roll and roll and roll out. So it'll be a goal kick once again for the Rhinos. Cherish Harrison in underneath the ball to pick it up, brings it out, sets it at his 6, and then he'll play it to the outside of the near wing. Harrison at 6'2", 180, a 23-year-old from Huntington, West Virginia. Along the near wing, and a pass ahead for Menyonger. Cross midfield, trying to sneak it through. Ever picked up again and carried forward into Rhino territory. Bailey touching it to the outside. Slide tackle on the ball by Novak to knock it out. Throw in for the Whitecaps on the near side. Kendall from the Rochester 35, throwing it off toward the middle, where it's picked up by Jertson, looking to sneak it through. Joey Jertson. Ball knocked down and taken by Ambersley. We'll talk to him, by the way, in our intermission. Then it's played off the leg of a Vancouver player in our intermission interview with Rhino midfielder / forward Mike Ambersley. Throwing out to the midfield line for Tenwa Bonsu. Cross midfield. Ambersley, he'll switch it to the outside, but nobody will get to it. Throwing on the near side for Vancouver, just across midfield into Rhino territory. Now 20th minute and no score from Vancouver. Kendall. Throw in short. Novak gets a foot on it to knock it away. Taken by Menyonger off in the middle. Ambersley switching to the left wing side and moving up on the ball is Kraft. 1-on-1 versus Wilson. Drops it off into the middle. Make that Lyle Martin, 22-year-old from Bakersfield. As the ball is dropped off and picked up by the Rhinos at their own 25. Palguda in the middle for Burtz. Back to the outside. Palguda heads it forward to midfield. Snuck by Ambersley and loose. That's deflected in the air and out on the far side. Throw in on the far side of the field for the Whitecaps. Rochester 40. This for the Rhinos, 8th match of the season. For Vancouver, 7th. So Vancouver not only leading the table, but they have a game in hand on the Rhinos. Push to the outside of the far wing, taken by Nash. Spinning around, drops it back near midfield. Vancouver, again, one of only 2 teams still unbeaten in the league. As the ball is battled for around the 35 on the far side, and away with it is Ambersley. Off the left wing side through midfield. Needs it off in the middle for Menyonger. Catching up to the ball, however, the whistle has stopped play, and the foul is called on the Rhinos. Throw in across the way. Actually, the ball evidently went out. So a throw in for Vancouver just across midfield. Off the far wing, and it rolls deep toward the corner. Chased there and there by Jurtson. Back as he's challenged by Burtz, and the whistle to stop play. Throw in on the far side for the Rhinos. That from their own 18. Kraft trying to get players to move around here. Takes about a half-mile run, then throws it in and flicked out toward midfield. Ball chips it across midfield, turning to the outside of Severs. Trying to get away from Martin, taken down. Foul is called. No, they're calling the foul on Severs. They got a hand in, so it'll be a free kick for the Whitecaps from their own 40 on the far side. Drop back for Klein, right back to the outside, and gets a return pass once again. Klein has it at his own 20. They'll then play it all the way back to the keeper at his 6. Keg. Well, play it away out through midfield. Bailey heads it in the air to the outside, but Kraft is up for the Rhinos to block it along the midfield line for Bonsu. Pass to the outside. Tackled there. Tackled away by Vancouver. Through the center circle, Valente. Dropping it off the midfield line for Clark. Sneaks a pass ahead for Valente. In the middle, 35 out. He'll send it down inside the 18, rolling to the end line, and nobody got to it. Yes, they did. Evidently, it went off of Kraft to the Rhinos. The linesman is calling. Linesman was calling for a corner kick. However, I think the referee called a foul as Kraft was pushed onto the ball. So a foul and a free kick for the Rhinos. 23rd minute. No score from Swangard Stadium. You see a few drops down. Maybe the rain is picking up. Yeah, it looks like the rain is picking up again. Had a momentary respite. Harrison with the right foot sends it out through midfield. Coming down center circle, headed in the air. Kraft in underneath it for the Rhinos, drawing it forward. Turning back. He'll play it back to Palguda. Pass forward into the center circle. Bonsu turning it to the outside, checking back on the ball, and run over is Black, and the foul is called. Free kick for the Rhinos. Chip through midfield into Vancouver territory. Flick on into the middle, but getting to it first is hammered away out to midfield by the Whitecaps. On the far wing. Moving forward, Bailey on the attack. Rochester 35, switching to the outside on the near wing, and in underneath it is Valente. Overlapping to Kindell. Being chased toward the end line by Novak. Kindell with a cross down in front. Out the far side of the 6, and the ball rolls off in the far corner. Chased down there by Kraft with the left foot. Will drive it out to midfield. Up in the air they go. The ball comes down to the center circle. Certainly a golden opportunity right there for the Whitecaps. Unable to get a shot on the frame. Cross midfield out of the near side. Off the left wing is Kahn. Sneaks a pass through, but right to Novak. The Rhinos take it away. Heard the other way through midfield. Checking back. Severs drops it off for Bonsu. Now long up the right wing side, and Ball running onto it. John Ball at the right side. Near corner of the 18. Moving inside. Crossing forward, and that one is booted away and out by Nash on the near side. And an excellent attack right there by the Rhinos. As they had a 3-on-3 situation, but a pass in the middle, and Nash got the foot on it. On the near side with the throw in for the Rhinos. Cleared down into the 18 by Novak, but blocked away. Up with it again, the Rhinos. Bonsu pass ahead from Menyonger. Tried to sneak it through, but Todd intercepts, carries away. Tackled away and turned by Menyonger. Neat step over on the ball. Gets away from Nash. Moving in the middle, but it got away from him in turn, and Nash will drop it off. Valente spins it out to midfield. Pass ahead, Birch for Bonsu. To the outside on the near wing, Kevin Novak with the right foot. Down to the 18 inside, but headed away and out top. Moving in, settling the ball, Ambersley. Couldn't get a hold of it to get the shot away. Down inside the 18 again. With the left foot hammered out to midfield, and it'll sneak out of bounds on the near side. Throw it in midfield for the Rhinos. 25th minute, no score. With it, Birch going to the outside of the left wing, and approaching midfield is Kraft. Nate Kraft sends it up the left wing side. Back for it. Played away by Klein in the middle. Clark moving forward for the Whitecaps to Jurtson. One tip across midfield for Bailey. Spins to get away as going down, stumbling on the wet grass was Palguda. Bailey turns it to the outside of the far wing for Clark. Drawing it down to the 15, to the 10. He's at the far end of the 18 box. Now a high cross through the 6 out the near side. Headed up in the air and out over the end line by Bonsu. Corner kick for Vancouver. Second of the match. This coming off the left wing side. Nash will serve it up. Setting the ball. Right-footed kicker, an in-swinging kick. And ready to go. Nash still in the right wing corner. And what do we have now? We have Kraft coming over to the touchline on the near side. He needs a little equipment repair or something. There's a service. They go out top to the near corner of the 18. Jurtson going for the back post, but he misses wide out over the end line. And a goal kick coming up for the Rhinos. Other sponsors of these broadcasts include Nextel, Power Up, Best Volvo, where style, safety, and all-wheel drive come together. Finally Printing, the official printer of the Rhinos. All of those folks making these broadcasts possible all season long. Goal kick for Chase Harrison, 27th minute. And no score here in Vancouver. Rhinos returning home to get ready for their next game, which will be finally on the home pitch at Paytech on Sunday night. Sunday night, 6 o'clock kickoff. It's Miami FC. Turn to the outside again in the far wing. Rhinos starting out the season, playing 7 of the first 8 on the road. And a long spell of road travel. Really looking forward to getting a home game in. Out is called. Restart for the Whitecaps at midfield on the far side. Play back in the middle. Kahn will switch it to the outside of the near wing for Kindell. Approaching midfield and now toward the center circle. Nash sends it through to the far wing. Off the right side, Martin on the attack in Rhino territory. And brings it down to the 35, to the 30. Turns it, dropping it back. Ambersley sliding in, but the ball pushed forward. And then driven away out toward midfield by the Rhinos. Severs dropping it off. Ambersley passing in the middle for Menyonger. Spinning around looking to get away, and he'll then feed it to the outside of the near wing for Novak. Drawing it out to the midfield line. Kraft is ready to come back onto the pitch. Indicating the referee we have a little bit of a mix-up right here. Valente is going to get a talking to from the center ref. By the way, the Kraft is on the field. The center ref is Matthew Bordeaux. The assistants Daniel Ballot and Kevin Duliba. And the fourth official is Mauricio Navarro. All back in play. 28th minute for Vancouver, no score. Pass toward the middle, Menyonger. Not toward midfield, but stepping up, Clark takes it away. Whitecaps have it for Bailey in the middle. Turns to get away from Menyonger. Feeds it forward to the 25. Jurtson in the middle, working to the right side. Now takes a shot, but getting a boot on it is Falguda to block it away. And off on the far wing, carried away in upfield by Kraft. Pass ahead, coming back for the ball. Stumbling and going down. Severs gets back up and plays it off. Rhinos have it on the far side, a feed up the left wing side. Pass to the midfield line, carried across midfield, and on the attack now Ambersley. To the outside for Severs on the far wing, down to the 18, high cross, down to the 6, or the upper corner, tipped up over top of the line, and out by Keg. He is up in the air, and he punched it over top of the crossbar, so it'll be a corner kick, first corner of the night for the Rhinos. Severs, I don't think he was crossing, I think he was going for it. I'll tell you what, he was only inches away from putting it up in the upper corner on the wide side as Severs was going for the shot. He hit the frame, and Keg had to punch it over top. So corner kick right wing side, and Ambersley is set to take this corner. With the right foot, roller to the near end of the 18. Menyonger dropping it back to the outside. Ambersley now left foot, drives it down inside, but that's headed away and out top. Getting to it, center circle is Kraft. Jurtson applying pressure. Kraft drops it off, midfield for Novak. With the right foot chipped to the head, and a flick on down inside. Moving in, Severs on the left wing side, but that's blocked away out over the end line. And that off of the Whitecaps, a corner kick for the Rhinos off the left wing side. Moving over to the corner once again is Ambersley. 30th minute, no score. Ambersley, second corner of the match for the Rhinos. Right now, unofficially, I have 2 shots for Vancouver, 1 for the Rhinos in this match. Well, not a whole lot of shots. Most of the action between the 30s. Here's Ambersley with the right foot, spins it in. That's coming down to the 6, booted away. Falguda with the boot. Left foot puts it in, but just missing the upper left corner. As Falguda spins with the left foot and puts it a couple of feet high and wide. So the Rhinos getting a shot but missed the frame. Other sponsors of these broadcasts include Salvatores. They deliver everything but babies. Health Source Chiropractic. Your partners in complete health. Dr. Donald Dudley is the official chiropractic provider for the Rochester Sports Group. And by Zweigels, the official hot dog at Paytech Park. Ball placed to the 6. Kaeg, the kicker, to take the kick. With the right foot. Well, kick, line drive through midfield, coming down to the Rochester 45. Bonsu will nod it back across midfield, and then it's volleyed again into Rhino territory by Clark. Played across midfield, Vancouver again, long bomb downfield, coming down to the Rochester 20, headed away on the near side, flicked forward by Birch, and in underneath it, Bonsu settles it back for Novak. With the right foot, drives it out to midfield, but Kahn hits it forward, then Bonsu again underneath it. We're playing volleyball right now. In underneath it, Bonsu settles it with his right foot to the outside for ball. His pass picked off. It's taken back by the Whitecaps. On the near wing, near midfield. Pass forward, Kindell to Bailey. Birch is tying him up. Pass in the middle for Jurtson. A step over on the ball. Works to his right side, 35 yards out. Lays it out to the right for Martin. Moving in. Chipped out inside the 6. Headed away and out by Palguda off of the far wing. But right back to Martin. He lost it off the noggin and out of bounds on the far side. Throw in for the Rhinos. 20 yards out on the far side of the field. Rhinos moving over for the throw in. Rhinos returning home this coming weekend, Sunday night, the 27th, on Italian night at Paytech Park. That's Sunday the 27th, 6 o'clock kickoff. Laid out into the middle, the Rhinos have it. With the right foot, driven out through midfield. Endell heads it back into Rhino territory. Bonsu volleys it right back to cross midfield into Vancouver territory, and the Whitecaps have it again. Across the midfield, long service down inside the 18. After Kraft. And Jurtson after it. Kraft driving it out on the near side. Ball knocked down. Still controlled by the Whitecaps. To the outside. Nash with a give and go. And he hits his teammate in the back of the heels. And the ball rolls to the end line where it's picked up by Kraft in the far corner. With the left foot. Turns. Long ball. Played it out to midfield. Coming down to the midfield line. A foul is called on the Whitecaps as Severs is taken down. 33rd minute and no score. Don't forget about Sunday night also. First 10,000 fans will receive a soccer ball magnetic schedule courtesy of Salvatore's. And tickets available at the Paytech Park box office, Ticketmaster.com, or call Ticketmaster at 232-1900 to order by phone. And again, it's coming up on Sunday night, 6 o'clock kickoff at Paytech Park as the Rhinos will host Miami FC. Back into Rhino territory. Played off into the middle, taken there by Birch. As he's challenged by Bailey, Birch spins, pass out into the center circle, got away from Clark, but does deflect it aside. Recovered again by the Whitecaps in their own end of the field. Played all the way back to the 25. Klein off at the near side for Kahn. Off the left wing, rolls it ahead. Clark checking back on the ball. Klein again with it in the middle. Chased by Severs, but Klein up the right wing, approaching the 45. Now sends it out through midfield, and the Rhinos back for it. Birch drives it out to the midfield line. Into Vancouver territory. Black playing it to the outside for Severs. As he checks back at the ball, drops it off at midfield. Played by Kraft along in the middle. Palguda with it to the center circle for Bonsu. Driving it back once again. Pass out of the near wing, and underneath it is Birch. He'll bring it away. Birch out of the near side. Plays it off into the middle. We're in the 34th minute here at Swangard Stadium. A roller to the outside on the left wing. At midfield, checking back, Shirley Black. Dropping it off and into the middle, giving it off to Palguda. Rhinos looking for ball control, and right now, at the moment, maintaining it. Off of the near wing, switch to the right side for Novak. Dribbles out to the midfield line and sneaks a pass through to Menyonger. One touch of the ball for Bonsu, but stepping in to take it away on the other side is Clark, and the Whitecaps with the ball. Across midfield for Jurtson, spins away. Tackled away momentarily by Palguda as they get back up, and Bailey has it. Rolls it to the outside of the near wing for Valente. Overlapping, and the outside is Kindell. Looking for the cross, but back to get a right leg on it is Novak. It deflects out of bounds on the near side. Throw in deep in the left wing corner for the Whitecaps. Throw in on the near side. Nash again to the outside for Kindell. Down to the near end of the 18. A chip down in front, but headed away out over the end line. Corner kick for the Whitecaps. Third corner of the night for Vancouver. 35th minute for Vancouver. No score. Nash for the throw-in off the left wing side. Right-footed kicker, so an in-swinging kick. Rhinos getting some players up to warm up a little bit. Here's a long delivery down inside. That's through the far end of the 18 to the end line. Jurtson able to get to it to keep it in. No, he did not. Flagman down to the end says, no, it's out over the end line. It'll be a goal kick for the Rhinos. 36th minute. Now we see some of the Vancouver players are up and warming up. Vancouver playing, not playing several of their starters, including the league's leading scorer, former Rhino Eddie Zabrango. He had 2 goals again last night. He's leading the league, 5 goals and an assist for 11 points, having quite a start to the year for Eddie Zabrango. Center circle, Rhinos have it. Out of the near side for Ball. He'll flick it forward to Menyonger. Drawing it down, spin around to the 20. Knocked away, pops up in the air, comes out of the near corner. Menyonger gets to it. Being double teamed, plays it back. On the near side, crossed by Novak. Roller along the 10. Out inside, right foot a kick in, but out over the end line as Black miscued on the shot. It dribbles wide and out over the end line. Goal kick for the Whitecaps. 36th minute and no score. Sponsors of these broadcasts include Cintas. The service professionals. Discover what Cintas can do for your organization. By Phoenix Graphics for all your printing needs. And by FoodLink, abundant share. Goal kick for Tony Kaye. And the Whitecaps play it out across midfield. And then flighted over top of Bonsu. Foul is called as he was tied up by Bailey, so the Rhinos have the restart. Played by Birch in the middle, Palguda along his 35 to the outside, left wing side for Kraft. Cross midfield on the near wing for Black. As he working back on the ball, drops it off once again for Kraft, spinning back, and he'll play it back to the keeper. Rolling ball on the 6, taken by Harrison. To the outside of the near wing with the right foot, drives it out to midfield for Ball, flicks it across midfield. That one headed in turn by Kahn into Rhino territory. That's booted high in the air. Up they go at the 35. Ball comes down, blocked away in the middle. Jerkson after, but Palguda gets the left foot on it to hammer it out through midfield. Rolling ball all the way down, and Kaye plays it aside out of the near wing for Kendall. Rhinos take it right back on the attack as Ambersley. He gets double team, pushed off the ball. It's taken away, and Ness will then send it out to midfield for Bailey and Vancouver with the ball. Drop back in the middle for Clark. Plays it back, but no help there. Rolls all the way down inside the 18 and kicked out as far into the 18 by the keeper. And Kaye with the right foot will send it out through midfield. Kraft up to head it, coming down to the midfield line on the far side. As he battles for the ball, it rolls out, and that off of the Whitecaps. So it'll be a throw into the midfield line on the far side for the Rhinos. Kraft will take the throw in. Goes short to Menyonger. Touching it right back to the outside for Nate Kraft. He'll drop it to his own side of midfield for Palguda. Pass ahead. Bonsu dropping it back once again for Palguda. Rolling it along his 30 in the middle for Birds. As he's challenged by Bailey, switching to the outside of the near wing for Novak. Turns back toward the middle with the left foot, sends it out through midfield. Seavers able to flick it forward. Menyonger after it, but headed away by Kahn. As taken down is Clark, and a foul is called on Ambersley. Free kick for the Whitecaps. Just to their own side of the midfield line. Well, it's starting to sock in again here, if you will. At Swangard Stadium, the mountains now to my left have disappeared as cloud cover moves in, and we get more rain again. It's been a steady rain all day long here in the lower BC area. Just north of the U.S.-Canadian border. Let's see, what will we be, about 15 miles north of the border? Ball placed to the 6, and Harrison will take the kick. With the right foot, sends it out toward midfield. Stepping in, Palguda down, drops it back, but not enough drop on it. Moving in, Jerkson turns to his right, ball gets through, and he scores! A giveaway, a costly giveaway by the Rhinos. Palguda tried to play it back to the keeper. Harrison couldn't get to it. There wasn't enough on it. Jerkson moving in, steals it away, and puts it across for the left post inside the net. And the Whitecaps draw first blood. 40th minute and very costly for the Rhinos. Vancouver, Jerkson. As he scores his second of the season. And that should be unassisted. So now it's 1-0 Vancouver leading as we are in the 40th minute here at Swangard Stadium. Well, that's certainly something the Rhinos didn't want to have happen here tonight. Play to the outside and up the near wing for Novak. Cross midfield. Give the announcement on the goal. So Jerkson gets the goal. No assist announced. As it's brought forward, pass along the 18. Jurtson turning as he runs into Kraft. And goes down. Foul is called. Yellow card is issued to Nate Kraft here in the 41st minute. Kraft draws the caution. That's the first yellow card, the first caution of the night. Free kick for the Whitecaps. 22 yards out, a little bit to the right of center. So another great opportunity right here for the Whitecaps. Already having just scored to take the lead, 1-0, and now a spot of the ball, caught it 21 yards out, a little bit to the right of center. About a 6-man wall on the 12 or so. Ball is placed. Who's going to take the kick? Nash moves up with the ball, strikes it into the wall. The ball knocked down and played on top again. Nash draws it aside, came down with a left foot, roller down inside, and that will sneak out over the end line. And a corner kick. Corner kick for the Whitecaps. Gives them 4 in the match so far, and this one off the right wing side. Nash will move over for the kick. 42nd minute, Vancouver now with a 1-0 lead. Nash, left-footed kicker, so an in-swinger. Nash again on the season, a goal and 3 assists for 5 points. Former Rhino serves it up, down inside the box, bending in, and the and blocked out over the end line. They say that one went off the Whitecaps, so it'll be a goal kick for the Rhinos. Goal kick. Martin Nash, of course, with the Rhinos. Back through 2002. 65 games played. In Rochester, 9 goals, 12 assists, 30 points, 30 caps with the Canadian national team. Of course, probably his brother, needless to say, is much better known than he is. His brother being Steve Nash, the NBA MVP for the last couple of years. Clark taken down in the center circle, foul called. Actually, it's charged to the Whitecaps, so the Rhinos will have the restart in the center circle. 43rd minute now, and a 1-0 lead for Vancouver. Novak moves up for the right-footed kick, delivers down inside, coming down at about the 10, and headed away out of the box. Booted away, but blocked by Bonsu back inside, then booted away again and out. Coming down around the 40, Clark turns it to the outside, long service downfield, the backboard goes Novak. Way out of his 18, Harrison first times it away, but it's picked up by the Whitecaps in the middle and recovered by the Rhinos. So Rochester covering up that time. Not sure if it's communication or whatever, but it looked like the Rhino defender had the ball. However, Harrison decided to come out and play it. Barely got to it, but almost gave it away again. In the middle, Ambersley turns it to the outside of the near wing. I shouldn't say again because he didn't give it away the first time. Through the box, far into the 6, knocked down at the far end of the 18, rolls out over the end line. And that off the Rhinos, so a goal kick for the Whitecaps. Approaching halftime here at Swangard Stadium. 1-0 in favor of the Vancouver Whitecaps, having scored in the 40th minute. Jurtson. Nice little gift on the part of the Rhinos. And he took advantage of it, puts it away for his second of the season. Kaeg placing the ball at the 6. With the right foot, low kick through midfield. Underneath the Bonsu heads it back across midfield. Ambersley touches it there for ball, but getting to it on the other side is the Whitecaps to hammer it away downfield. Couple of bounces inside the 18 was taken by Harrison. Decides to pick up the ball. Now rolls it ahead outside the 18 with the right foot. Chips it in the air and across the midfield line. Coming down around the 40, but knotted back by Kahn across midfield. Stepping in underneath it, Novak. Bonsu drops it back. Birch in the middle for Palguda. Turning into the outside of the far wing for Kraft and out to the midfield line. Taken by Black as he checks back on the ball. Drops it off for Kraft once again. On the far wing and rolls it off in the middle for Palguda. Long as 35 and giving it off to Birch. Drawing it forward. Birch sneaks it off in the middle for Palguda. Turning it to the outside of the left wing for Kraft and pass toward the middle. Taken by Menyonger. Across the midfield line. Hammersley turns it to the outside, or make that Severs getting a return pass. Severs challenged there by Klein, spinning around at midfield, giving it off to Menyonger. In the center circle, Bonsu turns, drops it back, his own side of midfield, and Birchman will play it out on the near wing for Novak. Just barely gets the tip of his toe on it to keep it in play, and then it's booted away off the foot of Novak and out by Valente. Throw into the near side for the Whitecaps from their own 35. 45th minute, we're approaching halftime. And it looks like 1 minute of additional time, 1 minute of injury time. Throwing to the near side across midfield, headed away by Novak. And chasing it down at his own side of midfield is Birch. With the right foot into the center circle for Menyonger. He'll turn it forward, sneaks it across midfield. One touch on the ball. Dropped to the outside by Black for Kraft. Right back to Shirley Black. Pass ahead. Hammersley checking back on the ball, but it got away from him and deflected away on the far side out off of the Whitecaps. Throw-in across the way for the Rhinos from 40 yards out. Pass in. Coming through by Hammersley. Trying to get to it. Seaver sliding in, but that's kicked away downfield into Rhino territory, and back for it goes Palguda. Switch to the outside of the near wing for Novak. He'll draw it forward across midfield. Ball checking back for it as he's pushed there by Kendall. A foul is called and a free kick for the Rhinos at the midfield line. Clock is stopped. We're in injury time. Novak placing the ball. Just seconds remaining here in the first half. Novak waits for the players to move down. Now he delivers it down inside around the 20. Trying to flick it forward with his Birch, but couldn't get to it. And the whistle blows. And that's it for the first half of play. So it was a pretty even half until the Rhinos had a costly giveaway. And the Whitecaps took advantage of it. And that's where we are at the half from Swangard Stadium here in Vancouver. It is the Whitecaps 1 and the Rhinos nothing. And this is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. First half statistics brought to you by Time Warner. Get all-in-one digital cable, Roadrunner, and digital phone. One simple package for one low price. Unofficial stats in the first half. Well, let's talk about the goal scoring first. It came in the 40th minute. Field is very wet. The ball very slippery. And miscue trying to play the ball back to the keeper. Not enough mustard on it, and it didn't make it to the keeper. In fact, as Jurtson got into the way and got up to the ball first, able to play it by Harrison and inside the left post for the only goal of the first half. An unassisted goal for Jurtson. His second of the season, scored at the 40th minute, giving Vancouver a 1-0 lead. Now the unofficial statistics in that first half. 3 shots, make that 4 for the Whitecaps. 4 shots for Vancouver and 2 for the Rhinos. Corner kicks 4 for the Whitecaps and 2 for the Rhinos. Offsides, 1 against Vancouver, 9 against the Rhinos. And that, again, the first half statistics unofficially in that first half of play. Brought to you, of course, by Time Warner as they are each game. So there's your first half stats. We'll have more in a moment. And our intermission interview with Mike Ambersley coming up next from Vancouver. 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps over the Rhinos through one half. And this is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. From Vancouver tonight, it's a 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps over the Rhinos through one half of play. Tonight's intermission interview brought to you by Connolly Printing, the official printer of the Rhinos. And an opportunity of sitting down and talking with Amherst's midfielder, Mike Ambersley, a little bit this afternoon. And kind of a struggle for him trying to get things going this year. But Ambersley, who is a 24-year-old from St. Louis, 5'8", 155, and asked him in general his thoughts to the start of this season.
I'm feeling good. We're still getting to learn a few new players that we have this year. I just got my first game last week in Portland. I got a half in, and then last game I got a start and got a half in. So my fitness is coming around. It's still not 90 minutes fit, but hopefully I can get a good workout in here tonight, and by next week I'll be 90 minutes fit.
Go back to the beginning of the season this year, if you will, to training camp. You were fit and healthy and ready to go, were you?
Yeah, I thought I had a good preseason. Leading into preseason, I was training really hard back home with a college team, and my fitness was there, and I thought I played very well until my injury that kept me out for a little over a month. So I'm just getting back in the swing of things now, so hopefully I'll be there in a week or so.
What was the injury? How did it happen?
We were playing Montreal in a preseason game, and I went into a tackle with their defensive midfielder, and he kind of stuck his foot in the air, and I caught the bottom of his cleat with the top of my foot, and got a bad bone bruise from that.
And now you actually were trying to make a comeback and get ready to play again, but it got worse or something?
Yeah, I think I rushed a little bit. Some days it would feel good, and then the next day it would hurt more than it did the other day. So I came back 2 weeks after it happened, and I think I did more damage to it than helping it. So I just decided I was going to take more time off and wait till it was 100% before I did anything. Since it is a foot injury, you pretty much need your feet to play soccer.
Yeah, I guess so. So that's got to be a big disappointment for you. Has it really slowed your progress, I guess, then this year, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Just slowed the start of my season. I wanted to be healthy and contribute right away. But everything happens for a reason. Hopefully, some guys stepped in and got some time in that weren't going to get it otherwise, and hopefully things will turn around here today.
All right, reflecting back onto last year, which was your first year, we of course, didn't talk after last season ended, but how do you feel your first year went? Did you go as far as you wanted to in that first year?
One of our goals was to make it to the championship game, and we did that. We just came up, a few plays short in the championship, but for me personally, it was tough at the beginning of the year. I wasn't playing much, and I had to adjust to that, and I thought as the season went on, I got more comfortable playing with some of the guys on our team, and I think we started to click a little bit, but it was my first year as a pro. I learned a lot under Coach Callaway and some of the veterans that we had last year, and I look forward to having a big year this year.
Mike Ambersley of the Rhinos will continue the conversation momentarily from Vancouver. It's a 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps over the Rhinos through one half of play. This is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Swangard Stadium in Vancouver, the seventh, make that eighth match of the season for the Rochester Raging Rhinos, and the seventh of the year for the Vancouver Whitecaps. So right now, Vancouver leading 1-0 at the half. Continuing the conversation with Rhino midfielder Mike Ambersley, we're talking a little bit about the pressures of coming out of youth and then college soccer and so on, and trying to move into the pro game. About how players, when they reach pros, quite often have been the stars of the game and really not used to sitting out. But you get to the pro game, and all of a sudden they're having to maybe be a substitute, play off the bench a few times. So I was asking about, talking about the players that sometimes have a tough time trying to deal with that.
Yeah, it very much is. You learn a lot about a player, about how he handles it on and off the field. And I thought I did a good job last year helping the team. If I got 10 minutes here and there, just work as hard as I could and get the respect of the older players. And that's what it's all about, being a rookie and coming in and not getting the minutes. You can't mope around about it. You got to give 100% every time, and good things will happen to you.
Has it been tougher than you thought it would be then?
Yeah. I have the confidence in myself that I can play at this level. So hopefully, coach sees that, and that's about it.
All right, the team this year, there's some new faces, as you mentioned. You're getting used to new players and that. How do you compare this year's team to last year's team?
I think we're more cohesive. I think we're a little tighter than we were last year. At times last year, things were going bad. Guys kind of got down on each other. But so far this year, we got a few ties that we thought we could have won. But, the guys are staying together, sticking together so far. So I think the camaraderie is there. We just need to put it together on the field.
Last year, speaking of ties, I know you were getting kind of frustrated. What was it, like 11 ties in a row or something ridiculous? So that's not quite so bad this year, is it?
Well, shoot, we're on pace right now, but hopefully we can stick a couple balls in the back of the net here and get our offense rolling and get some shutouts here, and we'll lead us in W's.
And do you think you're more of an offensive or more of a defensive kind of a team this year?
Well, right now we're a little bit of both. I thought defensively we need to work better as a unit. We've let some goals in, runs out of midfield, and we just haven't been tight enough at the back. But also we've had our chances to score, and I think the goals will come. It's just a matter of working as a unit defensively. It's not just the back line that keeps shutouts. It's everybody, and I think with hard work up front and through the midfield, that will help our back line out, and we'll get shutouts, and that will lead to some W's.
Now, it's almost like two seasons. You're playing all of your road games in the first half and home games in the second half. Do you like doing it that way?
Well, after last year, I thought it'd be a good thing since we went 5-0 in our first 5 games last year on the road. So the guys that were here last year are used to it, so it's not really that much different than last year. It's just a matter of getting some W's now. But I look forward to being at home for June and July and August for sure, with our crowd support and all that. But it's kind of difficult being on the road for 2 weeks. You get sick of sleeping in hotel beds. But it's part of the game. It's part of the league that we're in. So we just got to fight through it.
Obviously, your goal right now is to get as much playing time as possible. But as you look at the season, do you have any goals set for yourself this year?
Personally, I want to get points on the board. I want to contribute to the offense. Obviously, I'm an attacking player, as well as play as much defense as possible. I think really have to play defense under Coach Callaway, or you're not going to play. So I concentrate on that side of the ball, both sides of the ball. And personally, I just want to put points on the board to help our team win. And obviously, we want to win a championship. Came so close last year, and I think we got the guys this year that can do it.
Mike Ambersley of the Rhinos, fine young man, a great addition to the organization in his second year here in Rochester. So Ambersley is on the pitch tonight, and we'll see if he continues here in the second half, trying to see maybe if he can get his first full match in. Players are starting to come out onto the field for the start of the second half, and the Rhinos are trailing 1-0 at the half to the Vancouver Whitecaps. Second half action coming up from Vancouver. This is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Here we go now in the second half from Vancouver. The Rhinos defending in the net to my right. Chase Harrison in goal to my right and shooting at the net to my left with Tony Kaeg as play is underway in the second half. Rhinos have it along their own 20, taken by Palguda. Turning to the outside of the near wing for Kraft. Now the ball got away from him. He turns, finally gets to it, sends it across midfield. Menyonger heading it off into the middle, but that's recovered again. And checking back on the ball is Bonsu. Drops it off at 25. Birch turns to his left to get it away from Jertson. Lead forward. Kraft turning back, drops it off once again to Birch in the middle. With the right foot, sends it out through midfield. Running after a ball, doesn't get to it, and it's recovered by the Whitecaps. As I check it over, I don't see any substitutions here in the start of the second half. On the near wing, that's played through midfield, stepping in to knock it away. For the Rhinos is Novak. Pass out. Bonsu switching to the outside of the near wing, taken by Kraft on the left wing side, sends it out downfield. Turning back for it, in the corner goes Klein, and chasing him is Sievers. Klein missed Sievers as he played it out of bounds on the near side, so it'll be a throw-in on the near side for the Rhinos from 35. Kraft dropping it back midfield, taken by Palguda. Throws it toward the middle, Bonsu. Trying to touch it back, however, gets it right back, and the center circle will switch it to the outside of the right wing, and moving up is Novak. As he's challenged 1v1, ball taken away by the Whitecaps. Through midfield to Jertson, into Rhino territory, giving goal blocked away by Birch. At midfield, Bonsu chips it downfield. And Younger trying to turn him behind, but the ball is recovered by the Whitecaps. And a pass off of the near side. Morris chips it through midfield. Turning back, Palguda watching the ball roll, and then sends it off on the near side for Kraft. Has it 25 yards out at 35 in his own end of the field. Pass forward, Bonsu. Touched by Black to the outside. Moving up, Kraft on a pass across midfield. Taken by Shirley Black. Looking to stick a ball through to Sievers. Played to the outside from Menyonger. Has it 20 yards out. Turn, crossing along the 18. Down inside. Head ball dribbles toward the net and then blocked away. And out on the far side by Clark. So it'll be chased down by the Whitecaps. Pass out into the center circle. Bailey, but flighted over him. Turning back, Kraft on the near side for the Rhinos. Up the left wing side and across midfield. With the left foot, chips it down inside. Looking for the ball through to Sievers, but blocked away once again by the Whitecaps. Pass out on the far side, brought away near midfield. Jertson to midfield circle. He'll drop it back his own side of midfield for Clark. Return pass. Jertson across midfield. Turns it to the outside of the far wing and a long chip downfield. Back for it goes Palguda. Ball rolling deep to the corner. Palguda with the right foot spins and sends it out to near midfield. Blocked away on the near wing. On the far side, Jertson drawing it down to the Rochester 25. Spinning, trying to get away from Novak. But Jertson turning back to the ball again. Plays it back to near midfield. Roller ahead into Rhino territory on the far side. Novak is grabbed onto. However, I guess he did the grabbing as the foul is called on Novak. Third minute. 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. Throw in along the far side. Drop back at the midfield line and crossed out on the near wing for Morris. Watching him is Kraft. Morris for the Whitecaps, overlapping on the outside. Here's a shot of the frame, but missing the short side on the shot was Lyle Martin, the 22-year-old from Bakersfield. So the ball out over the end line. And a goal kick for the Rhinos. We're in the second half. Ball placed the 6. Harrison backs up on the ball with the right foot. He'll play a long floater out and downfield. Licked ahead. No, Sievers couldn't get up high enough for it. Then it's booted high in the air and coming down to the midfield line. Headed across midfield by the Rhinos. Turned to the outside of the near wing. Kraft returns it across midfield once again for Black. On the left wing, being challenged there. Double team. Ball rolls out. And that off of... I think it should have been off Vancouver, but the referee taking a look at the Vancouver players as they indicated it was going the other way, and he said, okay, I guess so. So the throw in for the Whitecaps. Moving up. Martin with the throw in along the midfield line for Clark. Giving it off to Nash. With the right foot, sends it through midfield, and the rolling ball taken by Birch. Turns it to the outside to get away from Bailey. With the left foot, pass up the near wing for Shirley Black, and into the middle for Ambersley. Center circle across midfield for Menyonger. Turning back of the ball, spinning, trying to get away. Pass ahead. That's blocked to the outside, then tackled away, and the whistle to stop play, and a foul is called on the Rhinos. Not sure where you get the foul there, but a quick restart by the Whitecaps. The referee said, no, bring it back, do it again. You're a little too quick. So the Whitecaps with a restart from their own 40 in the middle. 5th minute here in the second half. 1-0 as the Whitecaps scored back in the 40th minute. Turn to the outside along the near wing. Spinning away Morris with a pass ahead. Palguda gets the foot on it to boot it away, but still recovered back at midfield line by the Whitecaps. Martin drops it off. Sent by Klein through midfield. Kraft gets a foot on it. The Rhinos take it back. For Black, drops it off for Palguda along his 35. Left foots it across midfield for Menyonger on the near wing. As he's double teamed, ball rolls away and out. Menyonger says no, goes the other way, but the referee says no, sorry, it's once again the Vancouver throw-in. Out across the midfield line, dropped back once again for Martin on the near wing, and a roller ahead. Turning him into it, Birch gets to it. Lays it out toward midfield. Black spinning around, trying to get away, is grabbed onto, this time by Martin. Foul is called. Free kick for the Rhinos on the restart. Kraft right back to Black, and he's run over, and another foul is called, this time on Bailey. Free kick for the Rhinos just across the midfield line. 51st minute. It'll be Nate Kraft to take the kick. As he looks it over, the player's moving away. Kraft set with the left foot. Chips it down. It's coming down around the 18. Trying to hit it through in front is Bonsu, but that's blocked to the outside. Back to recover at the 35. Ball drops it off at midfield for Birds. Rhinos trailing 1-0. On the far wing, Novak for the 35. 1v1, gets by one, trying to sneak it through in the middle. And the ball is dropped back in the center circle. Palguda with it there. Turns upfield to get away from Bailey. Rolls the ball ahead. Now it got away momentarily from Severs and recovered once again by the Whitecaps. Out to the midfield line for Jerson. Spinning ahead, trying to get loose. Bonsu will slow him up. Turned off in the center circle, giving it off to Nash. Sneaks through at the midfield line, drops it off. Clark shanked it off the outside of his foot on the near wing, and checking back on the ball is Morris. Drops it off at the midfield line for Martin as he tries to get loose. Long into the center circle for Clark. Goes to the left wing side, long up the far wing and into Rhino territory. On forward, drop back once again to the outside. Kendall pass ahead, but blocked away to the outside. Turning in the far wing is Valente trying to get loose. Moving up to help out. Kendall far into the 18. Inside the box, approaching the 60. Shot it off the outside of the net. Just hit the post on the outside. So close over the end line. Evidently tipped wide off of the Rhinos. So a corner kick here for Vancouver. Corner kick off the left wing side. Nash to take the corner. 8th minute of the second half, and a 1-0 lead for Vancouver. Here's the serve it. No, whistle was blowing as Nash was ready to serve it up. The referee having a few words with the guys doing all the pushing along the 6-yard line. Set to go again. This time Nash way out high to the near end of the box. Jerson first time, but that's through the far end of the 18. Back in the far wing once again for Nash. With the right foot, drives it down inside and into the midsection of Harrison. Off with the ball at his 6 and moves the players away. 54th minute from Vancouver. 1-0 in favor of the Whitecaps, having scored back in the 40th. Cross midfield, Rhinos on the attack, tripped up and taken down. Is blocked and a foul is called. Restart for the Rhinos at the midfield line. Evidently the yellow card was issued. So we'll have a free kick for the Rhinos, again just across the midfield line. Ball is set. Birch will deliver downfield. And when booted away back to the midfield line once again, the Rhinos will chase it down in the center circle. Kraft to the outside. On the right wing, Birch with a pass ahead across midfield for Novak, and he'll feed it forward. It's a pass right back once again. And it's knocked away from Novak and out. Throw in for the Rhinos. Yellow card to Valente. In the 54th minute, Valente drawing the yellow card. Down out over the end line, a goal kick for the Whitecaps. Sponsors of these broadcasts include the Ferris Group, The best seat in the house is in your Farish apartment. See them all at Farish.com. The Distillery, now open in Greece at Ridge Road and 390. And by Dodge, grab life by the horns. That's Dodge. Ball through midfield, hit it back to Vancouver territory by Bonsu, and ahead comes Ball in the middle. With the left foot goes at the frame, and he missed the upper right corner by a couple of feet. So Ball has a go at it, but just missing the upper right corner. Substitutions coming up for the Whitecaps, as they'll get fresh legs in. It looks like the Rhinos will also. Getting ready to check in now for the Whitecaps here in the 56th minute. Valente is out again. This is the 56th minute. Donatelli is in. Alberts is in. And Morris is the other one coming off the pitch for the Whitecaps. And for the Rhinos, getting ready to check in, Aaron Lyons and Danny Kramer. And coming off is Shirley Black and John Ball. All of this again is happening 56th minute. Ball is out. Black is out. And in are Kramer and Aaron Lyons. Lyons just trying to recover from a groin injury. He says it's not fully recovered yet, and so they won't give him a full 90 at this point, trying to bring him along slowly. The play now is picked up as each team now has finally made a couple of substitutions on the night. Ball brought forward center circle, crossed to the outside of the near wing for Kraft up the left wing. Midfield line turned back toward the middle to get away from Alberts. Chipped across midfield, too far from Menyonger, can't get to it. Skipped back in the center circle. Tipped ahead after it. Burt's moving in. He'll take it away from Bailey. Played to the outside by Bonsu off at the far wing at midfield. Kramer of the pass ahead for Novak. Turning back once again. Kramer spinning around. Turns into the outside. Gets a give and go pass from Novak into the middle for Bonsu. One touch ahead in the middle. Moving in Ambersley as he's bumped. Gets a pass off to Severs. Bumped and no shot away at this point. On the near wing. Left footed. Shot by Lyons. Blocked away. Across in front. Tipped down. Moving in Ambersley. Does not get to it in time for the shot. And the ball hammered away out of the box in the far wing. Vancouver player down on the pitch as play is out over the touchline on the far side. The whistle finally blows as the referee sees the injured player back on the near side. Now we have a Vancouver player down. 13th minute of the second half. Or we'll call it the 58th minute of the match. And a 1-0 lead for Vancouver. Again, sponsors of these broadcasts include Connors and Ferris, Workers' Comp, and Social Security attorneys. Call 262-COMP. Also by Moliere Chevrolet Buick. They always say yes. And by Time Warner. Get all-in-one digital cable, digital phone, Roadrunner, one package. Save hundreds. That's Clark of the Whitecaps up and hobbling a little bit, favoring the right foot. His play is underway once again, and he is back up, running it off. Cross midfield. Severs trying to get loose, but the ball booted away into the stands by Klein. Throw-in on the near side for the Rhinos. 20 yards out. Lines for the throw-in. And go throw it in the short on the throw-in. Back to Ambersley. To the outside for Lines on the left wing. And a cross down for the back post. Up in the air. And Cake brings it down at his three as Menyonger was there. Cake throws it off of the far wing. And here come the Whitecaps on the attack once again. Through midfield. Bailey in behind. Chased by Burtz. Off of the far wing. Bailey turns back and a switchback toward the middle. With the right foot. Switchbacks to his left side. Turns it to the outside. Nash from 5 out. Fossil on the 6. Booted away. And out of the box by Pelguda. Off of the far wing. Recovered again by Kindell to Nash. Gonna give and go to the end line. Kindell moving in, but slowed up, turning around, trying to get away, and Kramer steals it, and the Rhinos have it back. In the middle for Ambersley. Touching it off to Bonsu. Played away off the leg, gets it back again, gives it off to Ambersley, drops it for Novak. Trying to go to the outside, but that's blocked in front. Knocked down by Novak as Bailey is spun around, taken down, play goes on. In the middle for Jerson. Trying to sneak through, tackled away by Kraft, and a foul is called on the Rhinos. Great opportunity here once again on the restart, the free kick for the Vancouver Whitecaps. At 24 yards out, 25 yards out of the middle of the field. 25 yards out. Rhinos will have a 5-man wall about 15 yards out. 15th minute, 60th minute, if you will, of the match. 15th of the second half. Ball is placed. Here's a right-footed go at it. Punched up over top of the crossbar by Harrison. And a corner kick coming up for the Whitecaps. Left wing side. Nash moving over for the corner. 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. Having scored back in the 40th minute. Nash placing the ball. Right-footed kick. In-swinging kick. They'll serve it up high in the box, coming down around 6 yards out, headed in the air, and that out over the end line off of Vancouver. And a goal kick for the Rhinos. Rochester goal kick. Trying to get back in this game. Trailing 1-0. Don't forget, coming up this weekend at Paytech Park, it is the Rhinos women's soccer team kickoff the new season. Friday night, May 25th, by the way. The Rhinos women's team, I heard that today they tied Hamilton 2-2. The women's team coming away with a tie. That is Friday night at Paytech Park. Kickoff time 7:35. And then on Sunday night, kickoff time 6 o'clock. The Rhinos men's team hosting Miami FC back at Paytech Park. Finally, yes, a home game for the Rhinos. Upfield across midfield. There's Hammersley sneaking away, trying to get loose from Klein. Or make that from Clark over the far wing. Still chasing the ball. Turns it to the outside. On the right wing, and a foul is called, and a free kick for the Rhinos. 30 yards out, a little bit to the right of center. So the Rhinos at home next Sunday. Don't forget, the first 10,000 fans receive the magnetic schedule. That's a soccer ball magnetic schedule. Coming up to the first 10,000, courtesy of Salvatore's. Well, if you want your season-long magnetic schedule, you got to make sure you're there on Sunday night. Still some rain here in Vancouver, and a free kick for the Rhinos. Again, 30 yards out, and a here to the right of center. Set to the kick line, front foot goes to the frame, and it's into the midsection of the goalkeeper. Keg takes it in the midsection and holds on. Played out to midfield, in the center circle, and ahead on the attack is Bailey. Rolls it to the outside of the near wing, and moving up on the play is Martin, the right wing side. Pass but intercepted by Menyonger, who comes away. In the middle, Hammersley turning it right back to the outside for Lines. Pass ahead for Menyonger, but picked off and recovered by the Whitecaps. On the near side into Rhino territory. On the attack is Jurtsen. Turns back to the left. Jurtsen's the one that scored the only goal of the match thus far, and his pass now intercepted. As back checking on the play is Kramer. Pass, but in turn blocked aside and taken down. Donatelli spins it to the outside. Off along the end line, across along the 6 in front. Out the near wing is kicked out over the end line by Kraft. Corner kick for Vancouver. Third of the half, 7th of the match, and the corner kick for Vancouver. They're getting a lot of practice at it. And Martin Nash has been taking the corners from either side. Taking his time to come over for the corner kick. The referee finally says, come on, get a move on. Vancouver certainly will waste as much time as possible with that slim 1-0 lead. Nash with the left foot. The Whitecaps trying to remain unbeaten on the season. Nash with the left foot sends it down inside, but booted away. And out of the box by Severs. Coming out of the 35, and on the near wing, Menyonger trying to get loose. Players slipping all over the place. Clark sends it right back in, but over top of the net and away. So it'll be a goal kick for the Rhinos. 64th minute. And a 1-0 lead for Vancouver. Other sponsors of these broadcasts include the Hero East Athletic Club on the web at heroeast.com. Nagel, Rochester's full-service realtor. And also brought to you by Perry's Life's Amola Perry's. Ball booted out through midfield by Harrison. Headed back toward the midfield line. On away on the 35, but whistle to stop play as a foul is called. Free kick now for Vancouver. And a substitution here. So the ball will be played away. And into Rhino territory, Josh Bolton coming in the 64th minute for the Rhinos. Bolton is in. Played across midfield again, over the far wing, booted into Rhino territory, then dotted across midfield to the outside. On the far wing as the Rhinos chase after it, deep in the far corner. Dropped off to the outside for Bolton, moving forward, right foot down inside, head ball up in the air on the near wing. Lines with the left foot, drives it into a goal! Oh, it's knocked away on the other side! Oh, man, Kay got a right hand on it and tipped it wide. A chip in front again. Wide side for the side volley kick, but couldn't reach it. It's out over the end line. Rhinos creating some excitement here. Getting some shots away. Lines was robbed as Kay got his right hand on it. So a goal kick for the Vancouver keeper. 66th minute of the 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps through midfield. As they move up on the ball, Pelguda couldn't reach it. That's knocked down in front, chipped ahead by Donatelli out on the far wing, and underneath it goes Novak. As he and Bailey battle, the foul is called. Bailey with a push, so a free kick for the Rhinos. 20 yards out of their own end of the field. All rolling ahead. Cross midfield to the outside of the near wing for Lyons. He'll drop it off. Kraft, cross midfield. That's picked off. Dropped back once again. Bolton pressuring, but the Whitecaps have it. Now Bolton able to knock it loose. Pass toward the middle from Menyonger. Spins to his left. Gets away again with the pass on the left wing side to Lyons. A return cross in front. Knocked down along the 6. That sure looked like a handball. And there's a call made. Yes, a call is made. Handball in the box. And it creates a PK for the Rhinos. Ball knocked down to the 6, a handball, and it's a PK for the Rhinos. Menyonger placing the ball for the penalty kick. Here in the 67th minute. 67th minute. And Menyonger is set. Opportunity for the Rhinos to tie it up. Menyonger moving in. Sutter step, right foot kick, scores! Menyonger puts it away inside the right post, and the Rhinos have tied this one up at 1. Rochester goal, 50, and make that 67th minute. As Johnny Menyonger puts it away. And the Rhinos have evened this match up at 1 apiece. Handball along the 6. Menyonger scoring his team-leading 4th of the season. So we're even at 1 now. Pass in the center circle. Knocked to the outside of the near wing, and a foul is called on the Rhinos. Free kick for Vancouver. About 40 yards out. Even up at 1 apiece. Rhinos' last game ended up all knotted up at 1 down the road in Seattle. All played out of the near wing. Actually, the Rhinos have had 1 ties so far. All 3 ties have been 1-1 this year. Turn to the outside of the far wing. Recovered again by the Whitecaps. Pass down inside. Bolton getting back as he runs into and knocks down the attacking player, Kahn, it looks like, and gets away with the ball. Josh Bolton up the right side. To the outside, ahead now across midfield for Menyonger. Bringing upfield, long chip to the left wing side for Lyons. Out of the near corner of the 18, drawing it toward the end line. Stops, now picks up speed again, heading toward the end. Switches back to his right foot. He'll drop it off on the outside, and Kraft moving up. On the near wing, Kraft trying to sneak away. Lyons on a give and go back to Kraft, and the foul is knocked away and taken back by Vancouver. Out into the center circle. Moving forward to block it, Novak across midfield, but that one deflected aside and taken away by the Whitecaps on the attack in the Rhino territory. To the outside of the left wing. Off the wing they go on the far side. High cross along the 6 down in front. That's knocked away out of the 18, and in after the ball goes Bonsu. Rolls it to the outside, Lyons after it. As he gets tied up, that's out of bounds, and that off of Lyons, so a throw in to the near side for the Whitecaps. Along to the right wing corner for Bailey. As it 6 yards out, looking for the crosser and hits Kraft squarely up around the chin and out over the end line. That one stung Kraft a little bit. He's all right, it looks like, as he'll shake it off. Corner kick right here for the Whitecaps. Nash over taking a look at Kraft. It looks like he's a little bit out of it right now. He got hit with the ball right up under the jaw. Corner kick for Vancouver. Nash set to serve it up. Substitution. Looks like Eddie Zabrango, the league leader, getting ready to check into this one. Rob Nash to the outside with a foot. Crossing down on the 18, then headed away by Bolton out top. And underneath it is Clark. Turning back to the right, chips it down inside the 18 again. Headball knocked down. Shot. They score. Ball settled out in the 10 yards out is Alberts. Picks it out of midair. Right footed volley kick in the lower right corner. And the Whitecaps drive it away and take the lead. 70th minute. As Vancouver scores and Alberts finishing drives at home. That's his second goal of the season. And I believe the ball was flicked back by Klein. Let's see if we can pick up the assist on that call. But now it's 2-1 Vancouver. And again, the Rhinos need to play catch-up. Dropped off. Birch back at his own 35 with the right foot, sends it out through midfield. Bolton couldn't control it. Here's the call to the goal. Alberts with his second. Yes, it is Klein with the assist. Klein gets the assist. As he looked like he was even in offside. Got to the ball, flicked it back down around the 10 or 12, and then booted out of midair. On the volley kick. In the net by Alberts. Ball downfield, out of bounds on the far side. Throw in for the Rhinos from 25 out. On the right wing, Novak spins away, comes loose. He'll send it down far into the 18. Menyonger sneaking through, trying to get loose along the 18. Drops it off. Chipped away the net, but misses the right post just outside the right of the net. Substitution is Zabrango getting ready to check in. Zabrango is in. Jurtson coming out. And the time of this in the 72nd minute. Jurtson scored the first goal of the game. And is coming out, and he's replaced by the league leading scorer, Eddie Zabrango. Zabrango coming into this, leading the league with 5 goals and 11 points. He had 2 goals last night. And Zabrango off to a great start this year, leading the league 11 goals, 5 goals, 11 points, 4th in the league with 12 shots. Last 2 games has 3 goals and an assist for 7 points. Dropped off at the end line, and Keg, the keeper, sends it away to midfield, but Bonsu nods that one forward. And underneath it, Martin will drive it into Rhino territory. That's headed forward. Blocked along the midfield line and recovered by Kraft. Turning it to the outside of the near wing for Palguda. Chip through midfield. Whitecaps after it. Drawn away on the near wing. Cross midfield on the near side into Rhino territory. Martin on the attack. Works his way up the right wing side. All the way down to the 20. Palguda chasing. At the end line, and tackled away by Kraft. He gets tied up and goes down. Gets slow getting back up. Kraft getting pretty well beat up here at the end of this game. He gets up and runs away. And the ball recovered there by Sievers. On the near wing. Dropped back in the middle. Watching Kraft to the outside. Seems to be okay, but gingerly walking. Turn to the outside. Palguda to the outside. Kraft takes it. Touch across midfield. Bolton dropping it back. Of course, these two teams meeting in the championship game last year, and the Whitecaps coming away with the victory. And the return match this year, and first time they met this season, the Rhinos and Whitecaps ended up in a 1-goal tie in Rochester. And now the Whitecaps leading in this one 2-1, and so Whitecaps have been giving the Rhinos fits since last season. Out for Palguda across midfield. Lyons one touch on the ball but couldn't control it. Nash turning back, drops it off, down around his own 35, and on the near side, slipping and going down is Clark. When he does, or make that Klein does, kick it out of bounds. Pretty slippery out there. Rain continues. Kraft with a pass ahead. Bolton dropping it back at midfield. Palguda with a long chip up the left wing side. Up in the air goes Menyonger, but couldn't reach it. Klein for the Whitecaps. Ahead for Nash. Volleys it across midfield. That's nodded away, but taken again by the Whitecaps. Turn to the outside, and Nash up the right wing. Or make that Alberts. Down to the 18. Has Zabrango in front. Pass along, back to her side. Settled ball in. Booted away on top by Harrison. And a return kick to the outside. Another service in front. Deflected away and then headed away out of the box by Palguda. Off of the far wing and in underneath it. Rhinos have it. Pass off. Bonsu returns on the right side, but unable to get to it. Severs. And it's chipped down to the Rochester 18. One big hop on the ball, and Kraft turns into the outside of the near wing. 75th minute. Dropped off along the near side. Kraft will then send it out to midfield. Knotted down again, and up with it is Alberts for the Whitecaps along the near side. Lying it down to the Rochester 20, and a pass in. Blocked away, and that out over the touchline on the near side. A throw in for the Rhinos. 75th minute, 2-1 lead for the Whitecaps. 2-1 for Vancouver. Whitecaps scored one in the first half. Rhinos came back, scored one in the 67th minute on a penalty kick scored by Menyonger. And then the Whitecaps have just taken the lead. Once again, scoring in the 70th. Dropped off Kraft with it. Pass ahead for Lines. Turns around on the near wing. Trying to get loose. Pass toward the middle, but that into a whole host of white jerseys. And it's recovered by the Whitecaps and then given away. The Rhinos have it. At midfield, Menyonger turning up the right side. Lays it off for Bolton. 40 yards out in the middle. Bolton with the right foot. Now banging ahead, but deflected away to the outside of the near wing. Up with it is Lines. Drawing it forward down to the 20. Turning the outside of the box to the near wing. But he's slowed up there by Martin, who takes the ball away. And Martin will put it up into the stands on a play. So in for the Rhinos. It looks like Perry. Yeah, Perry is coming in for Kraft. Here in the 76th minute. So Kraft with not a whole lot left. And Jason Perry is in. Nice job by Kraft. Throw in for the Rhinos. And short to Lines, right back to the outside again along the near wing. Palguda then will send it down inside. Far back post, head ball in, but that's grabbed off the line by the keeper, Keg. I have unofficially here in the second half, 5 shots for the Rhinos and 3 for the Whitecaps. Long ball downfield. Played ahead by Novak to the outside up the right wing for Kramer. Here runs into a body, can't get loose. Recovered by the Whitecaps with the left foot, sends it through midfield, and turning back goes Burtz at his own 35. Pass up the far wing, but that's out over the touchline on the far side. And it's a throw in for the Whitecaps. Ahead for Bailey on the far wing. Whistle to stop. Played Bailey with his arm around, and so he's called in the foul. 32nd minute here in the second half. Time beginning to run short in the Rhinos as they trail now 2-1. Burtz switching through. Long is 35 on the near side, and Perry moving up the left wing. Approaching midfield. Long ball served downfield. Headed back toward the middle for Palguda. Touch forward to Lines. That's popped up in the air. Down to the Vancouver 40 along the near wing, and Donatelli will spin with the left foot. Drives it out through midfield. Getting back Burtz. Laying it off for Novak as he's chased there by Sabrango. To the outside of the near wing, and ahead is Perry on the left wing. Rolls the ball ahead for midfield to Bonsu. Sneaks it through, but no, intercepted. Taken away by the Whitecaps. Donatelli at midfield. Dropping it back at his 35. Tipped to the outside of the near wing for Martin. Rolls the ball ahead to midfield, and checking back is Alberts. Drops it off there. Donatelli up the right side for Sabrango. Getting to it is Burtz with the left foot. Will hammer it away downfield. On the far wing, blocked there, trying to get loose. Taken down, unable to get to the ball was Severs. That's down inside the 18, and the Whitecaps have it. Out of the far wing. Off the left wing side is Bailey. Approaching midfield, chased by Novak. As he draws it down into Rhino territory. We'll switch it to the outside of the near wing for Nash, moving up on the ball. Martin Nash turning back toward the middle. With the left foot goes to the frame. Rolling ball grabbed by Harrison. Comes down with it at his 3 and moves away. 34th minute of the second half. 78th minute of the match. Harrison, high volley kick through midfield, coming down at the 35, headed back toward the center circle. Clark pounds it high in the air, across midfield. Sabrango in underneath it. Settles it off the right toe, pushing it to the outside of the far wing for Bailey. Back with it again. Whitecaps at midfield. Crossed along the midfield line, out of the near side. On the near wing into Rhino territory, carried away by Alberts, who just scored the go-ahead goal moments ago. For the Whitecaps, pass in front, blocked away at the 20. Rhinos have it. Turning ahead, trying to get loose. Is Lines as he gets slowed up, bumped off the ball, and taken back by Vancouver. Turning around is Clark. Drops it off at the midfield line for Martins, as he's challenged there by Menyonger, and Martins turns back with the ball. Drop it off, and there Klein plays it through midfield, but stepping up, Bonsu heads it back into the center circle. Covered, however, by Nash of the Whitecaps. Vancouver with the ball. On ahead across midfield. Turn to the outside of the far wing. Right back again. And Dale up the left wing side across midfield. Sabrango one touch. Bailey will drop it off. Then the return pass to Sabrango, picked off and turned by the Rhinos. Pass ahead for Bolton trying to get loose. Donsu slips it off into the middle circle, but that's played away. And ahead for Sabrango, 20 yards out, spins around, but the ball got away from him. Off with the left wing and carried up the near side by Palguda. Approaching the midfield line. Sends it to open space on the left wing, but nobody can get to it except the Whitecaps. Turning, driven across midfield. Perry in underneath it for the Rhinos. Pops it back in the middle. Burns out across the midfield line. Bonsu one touch to the outside, but Bailey intercepts. Brings it away. Bailey on the attack in Rhino territory. To the outside again on the far wing. At the far end of the 18. Moving down to the end line, looking for the cross in front. Blocked there. And the whistle finally blows as the foul is called on Vancouver. 36th minute of the second half. Sponsors of these broadcasts include Auction Direct. For your next car, log on to auctiondirect.com. Also the World Gym. Real gyms, real people, real results. Kick to be taken by the Rhinos keeper. Don't forget, Friday night, Rhinos women's soccer team off to their new season. Will begin the home play on home field on Friday night, the 25th. That's at Baytech Park. Kickoff time 7:35. Leslie checking into the match. Here in the 77th minute. Leslie is in. And I think it was Bailey that came out as the ball is brought upfield by Alberts. Spinning around, stuck through, rolling ball, grabbed at his 6 by Harrison. Thrown out on the near side, and up the left wing is Palguda. Chips it across midfield. Menyonger turning back on the midfield line. Spins away, sneaks the ball through. Lions after, but won't get to it. Recovered again. Leslie will draw it back. Down to around his 25 to the outside of the far wing. Earns it off the left wing, and he'll chip it out through midfield. Headed in the air, coming down to the midfield line. Blocked forward, Lions grabbing on, and the foul is called on the Rhinos. Restart for the Whitecaps just across the midfield line. Leslie is in and Bailey is out. Ball brought forward, turned to the outside of the near wing. Alberts down to the 10, long cross in front. Hit ball to score. Eddie Sabrango adds another one to his total. A cross down to the near end of the 6. Sabrango diving forward, header under the crossbar. And now it's 3-1 in favor of Vancouver. Scored in the 83rd minute. Sabrango is league leading. 6th of the season. And that's 3 straight games in which the Whitecaps have taken a 3-1 lead. They won the last 2 straight games, 3-1 scores, and threatening to do exactly the same here again tonight. That's 9 goals in the last 3 games for Vancouver. They are very potent. Rhino player across the way. Danny Kramer taken down. Now gets back up. All right. Gives a caught on the goal. That's a 3-game goal scoring string for Sabrango. 4 goals in the last 3 games. And Alberts gets the assist. So Alberts with the goal and an assist in the match. And the ball across midfield, turned to the outside. The Rhinos back for it. Pass ahead for Bonsu. Long is 35. Rolls it to the outside of the near wing for Perry. Looks back in the middle. Chased by Alberts. Now switching to the outside on the right wing. Back in underneath it. Now this is the 39th minute of the second half. And now a 2-goal lead for Vancouver. Well, the Rhinos have to be playing very desperate in order to get back in this one. As the ball to the outside of the near wing. Pushed up the right wing for Alberts. Rolling it off in the middle for Donatelli, spinning. Looking to sneak it through, but the ball knocked away and played forward by Burts. In underneath of his lines. It's tied up, goes down. Alberts takes it. Again, the Whitecaps on the attack. Through ball to Sabrango. Here into the 18. Rolls it off in the middle. That's tipped away on top. Nash with the shot. That's grabbed and held onto by Harrison. There wasn't Nash, but Alberts with the shot. And Harrison will reach down and pull the ball down and then kick it away and downfield. Onside flag. Crossed away, offside against the Rhinos. Cross midfield again. into Rhino territory. Novak back, plays it off to the end line for Harrison. 3-1 lead for Vancouver. To the outside of the right wing, that's drawn forward. Novak brings it ahead to his own 35, and now with the right foot plays it downfield, deflected up in the air and across the midfield line. Coming back to the ball, Menyonger, but the whistle to stop play. Substitution once again for Vancouver. As the Whitecaps will be sending into the match, looks like Johnston getting ready to check in. Marty Johnston. So Johnston is in here in the 85th minute.
Out of the game, number 7, Martin Nash.
And Nash is out. That's 5 substitutions. 5 subs on the night for the Whitecaps, so that's all they're able to do. And the Rhinos really don't have anybody else available for substitution. Everybody else is injured or not here. Out on the near wing on the left wing side. Balgood out across midfield. Blocked back into the middle, stepping up Bunce with the pass ahead. Menyonger takes it. Looks at the outside and rolls off on the outside. Kramer dropping it back once again for Novak. With the left foot, sends it out through the center circle on the near wing for Perry. Across midfield on the near side, brought forward by Palguda. Turns back toward the middle. Palguda sneaks it through the lines, but that's blocked away. In turn and sent out across midfield. Long pass on the left wing side. And it's in behind and all the way down. Throwing on the near side of the field for the Whitecaps from their own 20. Now with the 86th minute here at Swangard Stadium, pass upfield and it's headed out of bounds and that off the Rhinos. Another throw in on the near side for the Whitecaps at the midfield line. Oh, the Rhinos who came away with a victory in the game in California and a loss in Portland, a tie in Seattle, and trailing in this one. Look to go home under 500 on their 4-game trip to the West Coast. Pass ahead on the left wing side for Line. Sneaks it through. Bolton dropping it off for Bunch. A return pass, but picked off again by the Whitecaps. On across midfield by Donatelli. Spins it up the right wing side. Sabrango going behind and offside. Offside against Sabrango. Time running out of the Rhinos. Needing 2 here to get back in this game, trailing 3-1. Pass along the left wing side. Headed to the outside by Bolton. In underneath it is Palguda. He'll cross it along the 18 down inside. That one sneaking through and out the far end of the 6. Rolling ball picked up off the end line. The Whitecaps have it. Turned off of the far wing. Drawn back in the middle. Left-footed kick out through midfield. As the ball up in the air, booted away, and coming down to the midfield line, Novak spins it up the right side. And with it brought forward by Menyonger, gets tied up and goes down. And a foul is called, a free kick for the Rhinos. 43rd minute of the second half. 88th minute of the match. On the restart, ball placed 35 yards out, right wing side. Looks like Lyons will take the kick, left-footed kicker. The New Zealander sets it up, chips it down inside, head ball away and out top. And Younger tried the side ball to kick, but is blocked away and carried upfield by the Whitecaps. On his horse flying across the left wing side. Hung it down to the 18. Looks like Sabrango moving in. They're going to pass in front of him, crossed away and out. Here's a shot and knocked down by Harrison. Off the line, takes it, throws it out the far wing. On ahead by Bolton, spinning around. Lays it back on the near side for Palguda. Turns it back into the center circle. Palguda rolls it out to the right side. Novak ahead of midfield. Cross midfield and the attack on the Rhinos. Pushed ahead for Bolton. One touch to the outside again. Far into the 18. Here's Kramer. Pass along in front. Ahead for Palguda. Turns to the left side. Out inside, but won't get a shot away as the ball blocked away and out. Pass out to near midfield. Picked up the Rhinos have it again. Down inside. Perry toward the net. Moving in. Keg knocked down, but the ball out over the end line. That off of the keeper Keg, and it'll be a corner kick for the Rhinos.
Is 5,073.
5,073. The attendance 5,073. Corner kick off the right wing side. As we're now in the 89th minute. Now call it the 90th minute. Here's the left-footed kick down inside. Head ball away. Coming high out top. In underneath it is Novak drawing it forward. Pass ahead, but kicked away in the air, and that's knocked aside again. Back heel by Kramer, but booted away out across the midfield line. Turning back for it. Novak giving it off to Perry with the right foot. Goes to the right side of the 18. One hop to the end line. Looking for the cross. In front, grabbed off the near post by keeper Kaeg, and he holds on. The Rhinos looking for a good cross there, but unable to finish it with a shot. Played out through midfield. On the near side. Has the clock about to stop at 90. And down Alberts drops it back at the midfield line. Spinning around Leslie. Drops it there. And Clark takes it to the midfield line. On the midfield line. Now drops it back his own side of midfield. 4 minutes of stoppage time. 4 minutes of additional time here. As the ball is brought forward by the Whitecaps. Off top. Donatelli with the right foot. Trying to take a crack at it, but can't. Comes loose, and Novak for the Rhinos sends it out on the near wing for Palguda. Drops it off for Bonsu. Turns it to the outside of the near wing. Perry drawing it forward up the left wing to the outside for Palguda once again. Turns back and drops it off for Perry. He'll roll it off into the middle along his 30 for Pertz. Pass ahead for Bonsu. Center circle to Menyonger. Got away from him. Booted aside, and chasing it down once again is Pertz. To the outside of the right wing. Novak chips it through midfield. In underneath it is Kramer. Bumped as he tried to turn. Ball recovered by the Whitecaps. And brought away. Vancouver pass out to midfield for Alberts. On the attack, Alberts with a goal and an assist of the match. And up the near side. Ahead of Sabrango. Near corner of the 18. Sabrango turns back to his left. Trying to switch for the shot. That's put away by Perry. There's a crack in the ball, but put up over top of the net. And way out over the end line by Donatelli. Clock is stopped. We're in stoppage time. About 2 minutes to go in injury time here. The ball then is sent out through midfield. Flicked forward by Bolton. Headed away to the outside of the near wing. And now they'll say it'll be a throw-in for the Whitecaps. Throw-in at midfield. Leslie turning back to the ball. Right foot to the head. Sabrango heads it in the air, but that is coming loose, and Novak will dot it aside for Perry. Turning back. Gets away from Albert. Spins it up the near side. Palguda on the left wing and across midfield. Bolton touching it back at the midfield line. Menyonger spinning ahead. Works to his right. Trying to sneak it through, but blocked away. Out of the far wing in. Played to the outside. Out the right wing, Kramer. On the far wing once again. Across down in front, but booted away. Out top, where it's taken by Sabrango. Looking around. Sabrango turning back. Kramer watching him. On the far side. Brought away by the Whitecaps. Again, we're still in stoppage time. It's a 3-1 lead for the Whitecaps, and the ball ahead to midfield. Off the right wing for Alberts on the attack in the Rhino territory. On the near wing, moving it down to the 20 and off in the middle. Donatelli looking for the through ball to Sabrango, but he got away from him off his foot. Out the near side again. Alberts crossed down in front. Out the far end of the 6, headed up in the air by Lines. On the far wing, headed away out of the box. Chased down there by the Whitecaps on the left wing side. A pass on the 35 in the middle for Clark. Turning back to get away from Sievers. He'll drop it all the way back out to midfield. Pass forward, taken by Leslie. Well, we'll be very shortly hearing the whistle now to end this one. At midfield, stepping up on the right side. Martin plays it back in his own zone to Klein. He'll tip it off on the left side for Kahn and draws it out toward midfield. Long ball flighted into Rhino territory. Back goes Palguda. Gets the right foot on it. Volleys it back toward midfield, but it's headed forward by the Whitecaps. And the rolling ball deep to the near corner, taken by Palguda. Off the left wing side, tried to boot it away, but blocked away by Alberts, and out of play. On the near side, throw in for the Rhinos from their own 15. Palguda with a throw into Perry. With the right foot, sends it out through midfield. That's headed away again into Rhino territory. Knocked down by Bonsu and a pass ahead. Midfield, turned to the outside. Menyonger on the right wing for Novak. In back of the midfield line to get loose. Roller ahead, turning back as Lines, can't get to it. Ball recovered by the Whitecaps. Vancouver with the ball. Bring it ahead. Turn to the outside on the near wing for Alberts. He'll draw it ahead into Rhino territory. Watched there by Perry. Out the right side, near end of the 18. Takes a shot in. A one bouncer out over the end line. And a goal kick for the Rhinos. Rochester goal kick. Harrison placing the ball at his 6. With the right foot, sends it ahead to midfield. And the whistle sounds, and this one is history. So tonight, here at Swangard Stadium in Vancouver, This long trip to the West Coast comes to an end, and so the Rhinos will be looking to return home and recover, as it's been a tough haul, but finally able to put the West Coast trip behind them. Final score here tonight from Swangard Stadium. The Vancouver Whitecaps 3 and the Rochester Rhinos 1. And this is the Rhinos Broadcast Network. Well, we wish we had better news out of Vancouver tonight, but it was the Whitecaps coming away with a 3-1 victory over the Rhinos here in Rochester. Now dropping to a win, 2 losses and a tie on this road trip. So the Rhinos unable to move up on the table. As Rochester on the season now in 8 games played, have 2 wins, 3 losses, 3 ties, 9 points. Vancouver cements their hold on first place, picking up another 3 points tonight, has 17 points on the season. In 7 games played, a 5-0-2 record. One of the only 2 teams unbeaten in the league right now, 5-0-2 for Vancouver. And the season series between the 2 teams ends up with Vancouver winning with a win and a tie against the Rhinos this season. All right, let's take a look at what happened in the game. We'll run through the scoring first of all. As the first goal of the night coming in the 40th minute. It was a miscue by the Rhinos, and the Whitecaps able to take advantage, and on this one taking a 1-0 lead. Stepping in, Palguda now drops it back, but not enough drop on it. Moving in, Jerson turns to his right, ball is through, and he scores. A giveaway, a costly giveaway by the Rhinos. Palguda tried to play it back to the keeper. Harrison couldn't get to it. There wasn't enough on it. Jerson moving in, steals it away, and puts it across for the left post inside the net. And the Whitecaps draw first blood. So that was the first goal coming in the 40th minute. That's the way the half ended. 1-0 lead for the Whitecaps. Closest the Rhinos would come on tonight was in the 67th minute when they were awarded a penalty kick, a handball around the 6th. And the penalty kick to be taken by Menyonger. The Rhinos tie it up at 1 apiece on this goal. Opportunity for the Rhinos to tie it up. Menyonger moving in. Center step. Right foot kick. Scores! Menyonger puts it away inside the right post. And the Rhinos have tied this one up at 1. Again, that was a PK in the 67th minute to even the match up at 1 apiece. But just moments later, 70th minute, the Whitecaps would put it away by taking the go-ahead goal scored by Jay Alberts. Alberts with his second of the season, Klein assisting, and this was the go-ahead and the game-winning goal. Rob Nash to the outside with a foot, crossing down on the 18, then headed away by Bolton out top. In underneath it is Clark. Turning back to the right, chips it down inside the 18 again. Hit ball back down, shot, they score! Ball settled out in the 10 yards out as Alberts picks it out of midair. A right-footed volley kick in the lower right corner, and the Whitecaps drive it away and take the lead. So Albert scoring the game winner in the 70th. He's assisted by Klein. Have made it 2-1, and then the Whitecaps put a little icing on the cake in the 83rd minute. Eddie Sabrango coming in as a late sub, and he continues his scoring ways, gives him a 3-game goal-scoring string as he scores his league-leading 6th of the season. Sabrango scoring, Alberts assisting, and this one giving Whitecaps a 3-1 lead. Ball brought forward, turned to the outside of the near wing. Alberts down to the 10, long cross in front. Hit ball is scored. Eddie Sabrango adds another one to his total. A cross down to the near end of the 6th. Sabrango diving for it, header under the crossbar, and now it's 3-1 in favor of Vancouver. So the Whitecaps with a 3-1 lead and held on. That's the way it ended up, 3-1 in favor of the Vancouver Whitecaps. I don't have any official scoring at this point, or stats, if you will, unofficially. Had 11 shots for the Whitecaps and 7 for the Rhinos. The corner kicks, 8 for Vancouver and 3 for Rochester. 2 offsides against Vancouver and 1 offside against the Rhinos. Chase Harrison now in goal for the Rhinos, has a win, 2 losses, and 3 ties in the season. At the other end, Kaeg remains unbeaten. The keeper for the Whitecaps has a 5-0-2 record. Time now for the Paytech Call of the Game, brought to you by Paytech, personalizing personal communications. Here's the call of the game. Moving up to help out, Kendall, far into the 18, inside the box, approaching the 60, shot in, off the outside of the net. Just hit the post on the outside. So close, over the end line, evidently tipped wide off of the Rhinos, so a corner kick here for Vancouver. And the call of the game, and time now for the Pellegrinos Sub of the Game. Tonight's Sub of the Game selection brought to you by Pellegrinos, always fresh, always fast, and always delicious. Aaron Lyons coming in the 56th minute, set up one, and had another shot himself, had a couple of great opportunities, and did a nice job off the left wing side. Lyons, the Pellegrinos Sub of the Game tonight. Power Trip Player of the Game, you got to go with Jay Alberts of the Vancouver Whitecaps, who came in, scored the game-winning goal. Then he assisted on the game insurance goal, and he had a great night tonight. So Alberts is the Power Trip Player of the Game. Player of the Game selection brought to you by Power Trip. Taste the power. The Excellus Play of the Game tonight brought to you by Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield, helping you achieve your goals. And the play of the game is this. Dropped off to the outside for Bolton, moving forward, right foot down inside, head ball up in the air, in the near wing. Lines with the left foot, drives it into a goal. Oh, it's knocked away on the other side. Oh, man, Kay got a right hand on it and tipped it wide. A chip in front again. Lines tied for the side volley kick, but couldn't reach it. It's out over the end line. A great flurry of action right there by the Rhinos, but unable to put it away, and that's the way it ended up on the night, a 3-1 victory for the Vancouver Whitecaps. So that's the way it ends up on this trip out west. Couple of reminders for you. Of course, don't forget Friday night, the women's team, the Rhinos women's soccer team, kick off the new season on home surface on Friday night, the 25th at Paytech Park. Kickoff time 7:35, and then on Sunday, the 27th, the Rhinos men's team returning home finally to host Miami FC. 6 o'clock kickoff Sunday night, May 27th. Italian night, and the first 10,000 fans receive a soccer ball magnetic schedule courtesy of Salvatore's. Anytime you need ticket information, just contact the Rhinos office at 454-5425. I'm Don Stevens. Thanks so much for being along. I would like to also say a thank you to those that helped put together the broadcast on a couple of nights ago on Friday night from Seattle. Joey Giuliano and Soccer Sam, great job, guys. And, of course, John Catalano helping set it all up. And the rest of you who were involved in that night, again, my thanks to those people for doing that. We'll be with you next Sunday from Paytech Park. Finally, the Rhinos will be returning home. So I'm Don Stevens. Thanks for being along. Don't forget, Joe Giuliano will be along with our post-game show coming up in just a moment. So stick with us for more. Final score from Swangard Stadium is the Whitecaps 3 and the Rhinos 1. I'm Don Stevens again, and thanks for being along. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, or should I say a good morning. It's early Monday morning. And the Rhinos playing out in Vancouver this evening. Wish we had better news for you. But the final score from Swangard Stadium, the Vancouver Whitecaps 3, the Rochester Raging Rhinos 1. 5,027 fans on hand at Swangard Stadium. It's now time for the Zweigels out-of-town scoreboard and standings. Of course, the score now, Rochester falling to Vancouver 3-1 tonight, Swangard Stadium. 3 other games in the USL First Division. Montreal, their home opener for 2007, over 10,000 fans, 2-0 winners over the Seattle Sounders. Minnesota gets their first win of the year, 2-1 over Puerto Rico, 3,400 fans at Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium. And Miami hosting the Atlanta Silverbacks. Miami FC, a 2-1 winner tonight. The Silverbacks had a 1-0 lead at the half, but Zinho and Sean Frazier scoring for Miami FC. That's a look at the Zweigels out-of-town scoreboard. When we come back, we've got some calls hopefully lined up. Our number is 346-3000, or it's a free call on the Verizon Wireless. It's star 1040.
Crossing down on the 18, then headed away by Bolton out top. In underneath it is Clark. Turning back to the right, chips it down inside the 18 again. Head ball knocked down, shot. They score! Ball settled out, and the 10 yards out is Alberts. Picks it out of midair. A right-footed volley kick in the lower right corner. And the Whitecaps drive it away and take the lead.
Welcome back. The Heineken Direct Call-In Show, also sponsored by Auction Direct. I'm Joe Giuliano. Early Monday morning, May the 21st. And again, I wish I had better news for you, but the Rhinos taking one on the chin tonight in Vancouver. 3-1 loss to the Whitecaps. Looking at the standings in the USL First Division, the Rhinos have played 8 games. They've got 9 points right now, a record of 2 wins, 3 losses, and 3 ties. They've scored 9 goals on the season, given up 11. Here's where some eyebrows may be raised. The Rhinos have given up the second most goals in the USL First Division. Seattle has given up 12. Now, if you go back to last season, 2006, the Rhinos gave up 21 goals in 28 games. They've played 8 games and given up 11 to start the campaign. And again, I'm sure Scotty Vallow is a huge reason that the Rhinos have given up so many goals already without his leadership in the back. Again, 11 goals given up so far this year. The number here is 346-3000. It's a free call on the Verizon Wireless at star 1040. And we have Michael on the line. Michael, welcome to the postgame show.
Hi. I have a question first. I called in last Sunday, and I won the trivia question for the free tickets to the Argentina-USA game and the Rhinos against Miami.
Yep.
And when I went to the box office, they weren't there.
Oh, Michael, I apologize. All the information that Sammy and I had has been given to the front office, but if you didn't get your 2 tickets for the U.S.-Argentina game, can we make good on it and give you 4 tickets to the Miami and the Rhinos?
That would be good.
All right, Mike, you know what? Stay on the line.
Okay.
Let my producer get your information, and I'll make sure that you've got 4 tickets waiting at Will Call on Sunday.
Oh, okay, thank you. Can I talk about the game?
Let's talk about the game.
I really wasn't expecting us to win because we had like one forward. I mean, Diallo, Martinez, and Delicott couldn't make the trip. I mean, that's just crazy.
That does hurt a lot. Seaver started up in the 4-5-1 formation by himself. And not having Delicott, who I think, from watching Friday's game, had a good performance as that holding forward. I think that hurt a lot. And Martinez's spark off the bench, Mike, you bring up a great point. It just hurt us at 3-1. I didn't expect a 3-1 loss tonight.
No, Martinez is one of my favorite Rhinos players. I think he's great. I'm sure Eddie Sabrango enjoyed putting that 3rd goal in on us, you know.
Did you get a chance to watch it on USL Live?
No, I was at work. I could only listen to it on the radio.
He scored a beautiful diving header. Now, Sabrango, he's got 6 goals in 7 games, the former Rhino. But, yeah, you're right. Probably a little payback. Feeling good for Eddie Sabrango.
Well, hasn't he been like the leading scorer for every team he played for except for the Rhinos? I mean, I think he was with Vancouver before he was a Rhino. Then he was with Hershey, and then Montreal, and then back with Vancouver.
I don't know if he's been a leading scorer for every single team, but I know he had a breakout year with 18 goals once with with Vancouver. But it's funny.
That was in 1999.
He's a 30.
Go ahead. He had 18 goals and 10 assists that year, which is that's great for a forward.
Especially in this league where it's very difficult to score goals. But Bob Lilly, he sees him in Hershey, brings him to Montreal, brings him to Vancouver. Quality forward. Didn't work with our system here with Coach Erkley. But what are you going to do? He's doing well in Vancouver.
If I remember correctly, Tommy Tanner and one of the other midfielders apologized to Eddie, saying that it took him a whole season to realize where he wanted the ball, and they just thought they did a bad job of getting in the ball where he wanted it. And wasn't it last year in the semifinals? It was 0-0 in Vancouver, and then he went to Montreal, and I think Eddie scored 2 goals in the second overtime.
And he took off his shirt.
Yeah.
And he couldn't play in the final.
Yeah. And I remember that was great at opening night at Paytech Park with Eddie Sabrango and Bert going at each other. That was really some good stuff.
And I thought Bertz would rip his head off, but Sabrango is a tough cookie. And one other thing about Sabrango, you talk about Tommy Tanner, I think the Rhinos got into the mold of playing Doug Miller long through balls.
Yeah.
Sabrango's not that kind of forward. And it's unfortunate it took so long for them to realize that.
Well, do you remember it was a kick this show when the Rhinos announced that they had signed Matt Ford to be the executive vice president or whatever his position is, and him and Chris Economides were on the show, and then they were talking, and Chris Economides said the worst trade he ever made was trading Eddie Sabrango to Hershey for Jamal Mitchell? No.
Mitchell. Yeah, Jamal Mitchell.
And Matt Ford kind of laughed and said, well, that was the best trade he ever made. So
that's a good point. I didn't hear that, but it's funny to look back and hear those two guys talking about a trade like that. Yeah, Sabrango definitely was the better end of that deal. Mike, anything else?
I think the schedule is crazy, but I guess from what I understand, other teams are having the same the same problem with the schedule? I mean,
well, Vancouver played in California last night.
Yeah.
So we had the same thing last week, and the result was much different for us. Vancouver comes back home. Apparently they got home at about 2 p.m. this afternoon, had a 7 p.m. kickoff. So they didn't have much recovery time, but this is a strong, strong team that I've got to give them credit. 2 games, 24 hours. They are deep, and they are very talented.
Well, you know, Bob Lilly's had good teams wherever he's coached in the league, you know, so that doesn't.
You know what I like about Lilly, Mike? I like the fact that he's changed his style. I think he's adapted a little bit more to an attacking style. He had that masterful, 4-4-2 tight defensive style. But when they were up by a goal, by 2 goals, he never bunkered down and played with 5 in the back. He did go with 5 in the midfield, but before he would bunker down, and it was just very boring.
Oh, yeah.
These guys didn't quit.
Well, we're in 3rd place now.
Well, Vancouver's in first with 17. Montreal, Atlanta tied for second with 11, and we're tied for third with 2 other teams.
So I guess that's not so bad considering we've only played 1 game at home.
I don't think so. What do you think about this? 11 goals against. We gave up 21 all of last season.
We have developed this bad habit of letting them score first.
It's always tough to play catch up.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, stay on the line.
Okay.
Give Nico, our producer, the information, and I'll make sure you've got 4 tickets for Sunday. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. All right, thank you.
Michael, thank you for the call. We appreciate your time this morning on the Heineken Direct Call-In Show, also sponsored by Auction Direct. Lines are open, 346-3000. Free call on the Verizon Wireless at star 1040. We'll throw in a trivia question. Another 4-pack. What do you say? 4-pack to the Rhinos and Miami FC on Sunday, May the 27th, 6:05 kickoff at Paytech Park. Who led the Rhinos in assists in 2006? Who was the leading assist man, the playmaker man for the Rhinos in 2006? Give us a call at 346-3000. Looking at the scoring from this evening, Joey Jurtson scored in the 39th minute, his 2nd goal of the year, and the USL Live feed kind of cut away for a second. Listening to Dano, his great recap as usual. I guess Scotty Pelguda with a bad giveaway at the top of the 18. Jurtson rounding the keeper, Chase Harrison, to make it 1-0 at a very crucial time. At the end of the first half, Vancouver goes to the dressing room with a ton of confidence. That was the scoring for the first 45. Then in the 67th minute, Johnny Menyonger scoring on a PK, his 4th goal of the year. A lot of credit has to go to Aaron Lyons, who came in and did a great job down the left flank, driven cross into the box, a handball by Adrian Kahn, leading to the PK, Menyonger scoring his 4th goal of the year. Well, the game was not tied for long. 70th minute, a substitute in the second half, Jay Alberts. What a difference he made in this game tonight, scoring on a rocket. Steve Klein hitting the ball down. Alberts with the volley inside the box. Off of a restart, it was Alberts from Klein in the 70th minute. And then in the 82nd minute, Eddie Sabrango diving header. And the super sub, Jay Alberts with the driven ball at the near post. At the near post. And Sabrango with the diving header. He's now got 6 goals in 7 games. And as Mike says, he's been a top goal scorer wherever he has been. Martin Nash, a very quiet night for the Vancouver Whitecaps. A couple of yellow cards. Valente, yellow card in the 54th minute, and Nate Kraft for the Rhinos, a yellow card in the 40th minute. T-Bone Bonsu did return to the lineup after a red card, but no Matthew Delicott tonight. No Ray Boom Boom Martinez as well. Those are big losses for the Rhinos. I repeat, I thought Delicott did a tremendous job playing on Friday night in Seattle. And, of course, Diallo also not able to make the trip. These are things that hopefully the Rhinos will get straightened out before there's too many more away games out of the country. Toronto's gone now. Montreal and wherever else the league may take Rochester this year. Let's take a break. Don't forget the number here is 346-3000 or star 1040 in the Verizon Wireless. This is the Heineken Direct Call-In Show, also sponsored by Auction Direct.
Ball brought forward, turned to the outside of the near wing. Alberts down to the 10, long cross in front. Hit ball to score. Eddie Sabrango adds another one to his total. A cross down
he does it, but he does it. Eddie Sabrango, 6 goals in 7 games. You heard the call there from Don Stevens, the final score from Swangard Stadium. Vancouver 3, Rochester 1. And you got to give Vancouver credit. What else can you say? 2 games in 24 hours, and they have now won 3 games in a row by the exact scoreline of 3-1. So the 3rd straight win for Vancouver by a score of 3-1. They have the most goals in the USL First Division, 15 goals for, 7 against. They remain undefeated and top of the table with 17 points. Very rainy, very cold night at Swangard Stadium tonight. The Rhinos again starting off with that 4-5-1. Chad Severs got the start. Delicate, Diallo, and Martinez unable to enter Canada. More or less a problem with them returning to the U.S., so they were not in the lineup tonight, and those are 3 key missing components we've got to keep in perspective here. Thibaut Bonsu did return after a red card against the California Victory. Substitutions tonight. Lyons came on, did a tremendous job for the Rhinos. Kramer came on for Shirley Black. Bolton for Ambersley, who I thought also did a good job as a midfielder. And Jason Perry replacing Nate Kraft this evening. And the final score was 3-1. Over 5,000 fans on hand. And Bob Lilly, a bit of kudos to him again. He's really, I think, changed his style a little bit. Used to have that suffocating sit back and counterattack style, but now, even with the lead, still pushing forward, looking for more. Not a bad job by Bob Lilly, who was the 5th coach in the history of the Vancouver Whitecaps, who is the 5th coach in the history of the Whitecaps. Also the first American coach to ever lead the Whitecaps, and the first coach who has never played for the Vancouver Whitecaps. So some news and notes there from Bob Lilly. Trivia still out there. Who led the Rhinos in assists in 2006? It's a 4-pack to the Rhinos and Miami FC. That is Italian night. They're honoring Joe Capagreco for 40 years of service and great radio broadcasting. Give us a call, 346-3000, star 1040. We'll take our final break. You're listening to the Heineken Direct Call-In Show, also sponsored by Auction Direct.
Dropped off to the outside for Bolton, moving forward, right foot down inside, head ball up in the air, in the near wing, lines with the left foot, drives it into a goal! Oh, it's knocked away on the other side! Oh, man, Kay got a right hand on it, and tipped it wide, a chip in front again, right side for the side volley kick, but couldn't reach it, it's out over the end line.
Welcome back to our final segment. Got a couple seconds here if you want to call, 346-3000. Who led the Rhinos in assists in 2006? We're going to recap tonight's game again. Rochester falling to Vancouver 3-1. Jertson, Jay Alberts, and former Rhino Eddie Sabrango scoring for the Whitecaps. Johnny Menyonger, his 4th goal of the season on a PK. Looking ahead, next Sunday, 5:30 pregame show, 6:05 kickoff, Paytech Park, the Rhinos and Miami FC. Come see a Brazilian legend in Zinho, who has scored the last 2 games for Miami FC. He will be live at Paytech Park. It's also Italian night. If you're looking for tickets, you can call the Rhinos box office at 454-5425, or the Paytech Park box office, or Ticketmaster 232-1900. It's Italian night. Festivities including tarantella dancing, Italian music, Italian food, and a spaghetti eating contest at halftime. The odds are in now. Soccer Sam, a 2-1 favorite to win that. The Rhinos honoring Rochester Italian radio legend Joe Capagreco before the game. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. It's early Monday morning. Your final score from Swangard Stadium: Vancouver 3, Rochester 1. We'll talk to you next Sunday night at 5:30 right here on WYSL. Before we do sign off, I thank our great producer Nick at the WYSL studios for putting together another excellent broadcast. Don Stevens, again, our prayers and sympathies go out to you and your family. And I know there's a service tomorrow for Don's mother out in Vancouver, British Columbia. So our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. Don, it's great to have you back, and it was great to hear you on the air this evening. Soccer Sam will be back as well. Sammy, take care of yourself. Hope you're feeling better, and we'll get you going back on Sunday the 27th against Miami FC. That's it for tonight. Vancouver 3, Rochester 1. Joe Giuliano. Ciao for now.